Welcome to the Boston REIA. Welcome to our December. You guys don't see it now, do you? There it is. Still see it? Awesome. Excellent. Welcome to the Boston REIA December meeting. We do this every single month. We do it on the first Thursday of the month. You don't want to miss out because every month, like Camila was just saying, we do a different training. Last month was Airbnb arbitrage. So if you wanted to get access to that, you can go onto the Facebook group or you can get it right on the website. I want to say a special welcome to all of our members. Let's give our members a round of applause and our guests, especially if you come often. Welcome back. Before we dive any deeper into this, I have to let you know that if you do a deal with somebody in here, and I do encourage partnerships, I do encourage mentorships, but if you do a deal inside the Boston REIA, met somebody connected here, it's not our fault if it goes south. We're expecting you to pay attention to the people you're meeting and the relationships you're building, as well as their morals, ethics, and whether they're doing things legally. I'm going to read this liability disclosure very quickly. Boston REIA assumes no liability or responsibility for the outcome of any real estate transactions, decisions, or action that any Boston REIA member or visitor enter into as the result of attending any meeting, listening to any speaker, or talking to any Boston REIA member, guests, visitors, or persons. Hands to the camera if that makes sense. We understand why we have to say that. Awesome. This is an educational piece only. This is not financial advice, even though we talk about money and houses. We're the largest trade association of real estate investors in the United States. We have partners all across. You see Home Depot is one of our biggest partners. Equity Trust is where you can borrow money from your 401k and use it to buy real estate. And you recognize the other names. To be part of the Boston REIA's vision, you have to be an active real estate community. In order to do that, we generate people and deal flow for you, with you. We are the number one in networking, we're the number one in education, and we're the number one in investor resources, as well as deal flow. Hands to the camera if you like the idea of more deals, you like more deal flow in your life. Awesome, you're in the right place. We are looking for volunteers. In fact, how I started being the host was I first started by volunteering. We're going to be going back to live. We were aiming for January, but I believe the Hilton said no. They said March.
Yeah, they don't have their stuff together yet. And then this new Omicron, whatever variant, has people freaked out. So we decided to make it March, and that will be exactly then 2 years since this COVID disaster happened and shut our live events down. So March is what we're looking for. And yeah, so we do need all sorts of volunteers to help build up our team. And we do have some special benefits that if you do write to us about and are interested, there'll be free trainings, there'll be discounts, there'll be all sorts of stuff for you guys who want to volunteer. And it's just a way to get closer to speakers, old timers, and that's all the give back stuff. So we are looking for volunteers. Just, write us at bostonrea@gmail.com. And we'll put that in the chat.
Awesome. Excellent. Volunteering is important. It's how I got started with the Boston REIA. It's how I raised over $1 million. Because the volunteers end up in a position of, yeah, sure, why not? You have just a little bit more status than everybody else. So let's give all of our volunteers a round of applause. We appreciate your dedication. Sarah, myself, Dorina, Hannah, and Kelly, and Duncan for all the work that you guys do. It's really helpful all year, keeping us motivated, supported, and educated.
Yes, and Walter, one quick thing. If it's easier for people to just text me right off the bat, they can text me at 864-906-4111.
And you see that in the chat. I grab that number now. Just drop it into your phone and text Kelly just to say hi. You're going to want her number later, I promise you. And for everybody who's texting me right now, I'm going to be answering stuff and texts while the other speaker is speaking. So do not let me distract you. And also, I'm obviously talking. So feel free to text me so I can text you back later. The Boston real estate investor community is doing a give back program this year. You can go to www.gbfb.org and please make your donation in the name of the Boston REIA. The distribution will be for food in neighborhoods like Rose. They'll help neighbors like Rose receive fresh groceries every month. Hands to the camera if you know that's a good cause. That's a good thing to be a part of. look, we're real estate investors. We're making money, but we got to do something good with that money as well. It's part of the Brown Bag program, school-based pantries, mobile markets, and comedy supplemental food programs. This is a really good opportunity to, if you haven't donated money to something, this is a really good cause, and it's being backed by the Boston REIA. Every $30 donated, you receive free entry into a general live event meeting or 1 month added to your Boston REIA membership. Every donation over $75 gets entry to 3 full-day workshops of your choice in 2022. Every donation over $150 gets a free copy of Gary Vee's new book, 12 and a Half, Leveraging the Emotional Ingredients Necessary for Business Success, in the hardcover. And since we're giving books away, I'll also throw my book, Broke to $250,000, in there as a free giveaway, or you can go with Real Estate Alchemist, Get the Deal, my off-market deal finding strategy book. I'll toss those in since Duncan's going in. I might as well add to it. Every donation over $500 gets a free 1-year Boston REIA membership, plus all off the other benefits up to $500. Please mention Boston REIA in the comments of your online donation and send via email to Boston REIA, Boston REIA @gmail.com to collect your gift. Give today. Again, the website is www.gbfb.org. And I'm going to drop that in the chat. Actually, Kelly, do you mind dropping that in the chat? And I think we have some sponsors here. We have one of our lenders is actually here right now.
We do. Joseph is one of our newer ones. And, you know, I told him I would give him 2 to 4 minutes just to go over private lending.
You're so generous. I always say, 30 seconds or less, and then see them sweat. So Joseph is a lender of ours. He's a sponsor. So Joe, if you got a second, just unmute the mic and share a little bit about one of the tips, why it makes sense to work with a hard money lender, and what's the easiest way to get in touch with you.
Well, I'm not a hard money lender, so we'll just clarify that. I'm a private lender. It's all right. It's all right. Listen, us bald-headed guys have to stick together.
That's right, Shiny brother.
It's all good. We can't be all like Duncan with a full head of hair. So my name is Joe Scarice. I'm the Regional Development Manager for Lending One, which is a division of Blackstone Capital. So the true division between private lending and hard money is rate, service, and building up your portfolio. And we're not really a loan-to-own type of environment. So we are asset-based. We look at debt service coverage ratio. We look at your bank statements. We look at credit. But our construction money starts at 7.49. And on our refinance or purchase money starts at 3.5%. So there's a lot of room comparative between private lending as well, comparatively to hard money. We do look for a credit score of 660 and above. You do have to qualify with a credit score of 660 and above. We facilitate rental loans, fix and flip loans, portfolio rental loans, multifamily bridge. Now on the rental loans and multifamily, we also offer 30-year fixed money. So that's usually not an anomaly where a lot of people get an ARM product. We offer a fully fixed commercial loan, does not reflect on your credit. Blanket loan programs, debt service coverage, and bank statement loans. We also extend non-recourse lending as well as recourse lending. Non-recourse minimum loan size is $1 million and or 10 properties. And we're licensed in all 50 states. My region is the Northeast region. That's why I reached out to Duncan. And I'm joining Boston REIA. I'll be up there hopefully a couple times a quarter. But I actually will be there for a holiday party on the 20th at the Nautilus, which is in downtown Boston. So I'll be down there, be in Boston Sunday, Monday, and the 21st. The Wahlbergs are having a fundraiser for the toys. So I'll be at their function on the 21st in Boston. So if anybody would like to grab a cup of coffee or meet for lunch, talk about what they're trying to do and accomplish, Lending One really wants to get involved in that Massachusetts market. My responsibility is between Maine and Virginia. And you did name some really good markets there in the beginning to that gentleman. I do agree with you. The Carolinas, Florida, Georgia's real nice. Virginia's real good. Surprisingly enough, New Hampshire, right above Massachusetts, is a real good rental market. So there's some really good pocketed markets out there that we like. And if you need some suggestions or assistance and direction, we're more than happy to help you. And thank you for the time.
Super, Joe.
Awesome.
Hey, I just want to jump in there for a second because this is private lending backed, by a huge company. And there is a big difference between private and hard money lending. So I am going to have Joe come back and schedule 45 minutes with us in the year ahead. So he can give you a lot more detail because he used a lot of words that a lot of new people, maybe some old timers, don't really understand in the different types of lending vehicles out there. So, I really want to give everybody in the new year to hear out the entire program, and then, they will actually help customize what's the best strategy going forward with private money. And there's plenty of time to get your credit score to a 660, so we can talk on rebuilding credit, or maybe they'll do, co-sponsored, co-signed. I don't know. But 660 is not that bad to get to rebuild your credit to. So I'm going to have him back. So Joe, thank you very much for stopping by tonight.
Thanks, Joe. Let's give Joe a round of applause. Very valuable, very valuable. You got to know how to get the money. Money is important. And if your credit is messed up, I run it in the mentorship. We can take care of your credit score. It does take a couple of months, but with diligence, right action, and a little bit of commitment, you can get your credit back up no matter where it's at. In fact, I just broke the 800 score. What's important to know, though, is that I was buying real estate at a 550. So there is a strategy to do it, and you can get it done. But if you can get into cheap money like Joe was just offering, it pays to get to the 660 if you can get that point. We've also got investment freedom, which starts here. So rentals, we're not going to have the speaker come in, but I think this is equity trust, right? Is that what they represent, Duncan?
Correct. This is a training we're sponsoring with Equity Trust on using the self-directed IRA for rentals, joint ventures, and that. So that money that you have sitting in your self-directed IRA, you really need to use it. It just can't sit there. And with taxes going to go up and that, hopefully they don't touch our self-directed IRAs, but this is an opportunity to learn how to use that for all sorts of deals. So again, this is sponsored by us. There's nothing to pay. And it's going to be at 6:00 on Wednesday next week. So the link is on our website in our events calendar. So please just go to our website, Boston Real Estate Investors Association, look on the main page under, events, and you'll see it there and the link to register.
And again, this is very important. Even if you don't have a 401k and you're not thinking about unlocking your money, I use this when I'm borrowing other people's money for my deals. I use Equity Trust so that their 401k can be released and they can actually use that as money to invest. So if you're raising capital from private money lenders and they don't have access to capital, they may actually be able to untap some of that money that's in a 401k. So Equity Trust is a really powerful tool. Make sure that you're at this training. Again, Duncan said it's free. Boston REIA is sponsoring it, which is really, really valuable. And if you need the website where it's at, you can look right at the bottom of this page. It is Boston Real Estate Investors Association.com. That's www.bostonrealestateinvestorsassociation.com. And you can also register to sign up for our free, newsletter, our free newsletter, which is a really valuable resource, has a lot of free stuff in there and information as well as access to deals. Again, hands to the camera if you want access to deals, you want some of the off-market stuff. Awesome. So you get that through the newsletter. If you're not a part of it now, that would be why you're not getting off-market properties. We are social. I talked about it earlier. If you haven't already gone to Facebook, go to Facebook now. Find us. We're the Boston REIA. Like, follow, share today's video, share it with your friends, share it with others, especially if you know somebody who's in investing. If they're interested, tag them, drop it in the comments. The idea is to not hold information to ourselves, but get it out to other people. This way you can start building partnerships. You can get other people doing deals. Maybe they'll bring you a deal. The goal is not to keep it to yourself. It's actually to expand and get other people involved. If you're new to real estate investing, put your hand to the camera. Hands to the camera if you're new to the game. Awesome. Let's give you a round of applause. Welcome for showing up. Congratulations. Let us help you start doing deals. Join the Boston REIA tonight. So right now, this is a free call, but we have a membership that has obviously a ton of value in it. You get free entrance to our live monthly meetups. You get free entrance to our subgroup meetups. Every Saturday at 10 a.m., we do a 52 Weeks to Wealth. It's part of my mentorship. This is free to Boston REIA members. You're also going to actually hear a little bit about Home Depot's 2% rebate, which may seem small, but we saved over $1,500 in my investment company in Massachusetts just through the 2% rebate. Trust me, renovation prices are going up. Costs of materials are going up. So that 2% actually adds up to a really big value for you at the end of the year. Exclusive member benefits, which are only available on the website and to members, and obviously our discounted workshops. In fact, we've got a workshop called Names on Deeds coming up. And again, you see the Boston REIA members are able to get to the, Equity Trust meetup this Wednesday. These are free resources for our members. So definitely want to check it out. If you want more information on how to check it out, Kelly, can you drop your number in the chat if somebody's interested in signing up? Awesome. Learn the sport, be a player, join tonight. And if I can get Sarah to tell us about Boston REIA, let's give Sarah a round of applause. Tell us about the Home Depot discounts.
Thank you, Walter. Duncan, if possible, tell them to just share my screen.
Done.
Thank you.
You're up.
I'm here. Do you need me to do something?
I think because you're the host, you just need to allow me to share my screen.
All right, Sarah, give me a second here and figure that out.
Okay.
All right, so I guess I got to make you I'll just make
Just
you the
a
host
co-host.
then, change up the host,
All right.
and
Sounds
just
good.
give host back to Walter when you're done.
Sounds good. I'll do that. All right. So let me share my screen. Good evening, everyone. Just like Walter was saying, that he was able to save $1,500 from Home Depot 2% rebate. Actually, Home Depot does offer 2%, but they also offer more than that. We'll go over this in a minute. I hope that you can see my screen. Let's see, this opens. Okay. I think you can see everything now, right?
Yeah, we can.
Got
So
it.
Good. All right. Awesome. So Home Depot offers a rewards program. So how does that work? Just think of it as CVS or as Straws or any of, the offers that you get. So basically, when you go to any of these places, you spend money, you collect rewards. The more you spend, the more discounts you get. Same idea with Home Depot, but they have a little bit of a difference. Actually, they offer you actually more. They have a department they call like Pro Extra within Home Depot. They have a deal with us where our members actually get better deals and better discounts than if you would just go directly to Home Depot Pro Extra. Basically, our members, they earn 2% rebate biannually on all the purchases. This is what Walter was talking about. And they have a fixed periods. So they have a first rebate period start January 1st until June 30th, and then it starts again July 1st until December 31st. And the only requirement is that you would spend $5,000 for the whole period, which is under $1,000 per month. So if you have any project coming up, 5,000 is a very easy goal to achieve. And how it works is that they send you the gift card rebate within 60 days, and it's a Home Depot gift card that you spend it back in Home Depot. They mail it out within 60 days from the closing date of each cycle. And just make sure that your mailing address is always updated with Home Depot so you wouldn't lose your rebates. Also, Boston REIA members, they start at the gold tier. And what does that mean is they have like 3 or 4 tiers, and it requires $6,500 spent on paint before you get to that tier. But because you're a Boston REIA member, you just start there right away. And that qualifies you immediately to the 20% off paint. And that has nothing to do with the 5,000 rebate. So you get that at the checkout. At the checkout, so once you again think of it as Stop and Shop or something, you sign up with the Boston REIA phone number that you signed with us with the phone number. With that number, we take it, we sign up with the Home Depot. So at the checkout, you just enter your registered phone number, and you will get the discount right away. If you also pay with a registered card, you will get a total of 22% discount on the paint, and you can actually track your purchases for up to 24 months. Basically, you get the 20% at the checkout, and then you get the 2% accumulated over the 6 months period, and then you get it at the end of the cycle. And the 20% of paint is applicable to paint, stains, and primer of a gallon or more. It doesn't apply to quartz or spray or, it doesn't apply to that. Also, members, Boston REIA members can get up to 20% of select Hampton Bay kitchen and bath cabinets. The only thing is that you need to buy 10 or more cabinets in one transaction. And how does it work is that you get 10% from National REIA and 10% from Home Depot. And both are stackable with any other store discounts. Also, Home Depot offers a volume pricing program, VPP or Bidroom. And this is a great way to also save, have more discount. How it works is that just have a list of large items that will cost $1,500 or more in a single transaction. Bring this to the Pro Desk, have them to prepare a code for you. And once they do that, ask them to send it to the Bidroom. And it takes like a few minutes, and then it's going to come back with any applied discounts. It takes like anywhere from 0 to 15% applied discount. And, that's what you get. And then at the checkout, if you pay with a registered card, you get the 2%. That's how you accumulate more discounts. Basically, the 2% is at the end of the 6 months, but the 0 to 15%, you get that at the checkout. And if all that was not convincing enough, in the last 6 months, those are real numbers. So in the last 6 months, Home Depot paid out to chapter members more than $500,000 to our members. And that was just like Walter was saying, average $1,500, $1,600 almost per member. So, if we translate that for numbers, like for Boston REIA membership, that will buy you like about 5 years worth of membership, if not more. And if you have like a double membership, if you have a partner, that will buy you like 4 years worth. So in 6 months, in one period, you pay for like several REIAs ahead of you. So that alone is worth a lot. And in addition to all the education that we get here, very unique stuff that you wouldn't hear about anywhere else. If you are a member, or if you're not sure if your membership expired and you want to verify, welcome to call or text Kelly. Her number is 864-906-4111. You can take a picture, and I think she posted here throughout in the chat box. Thank you for listening and enjoy the night. Take care. Let me just give it back to Walter.
Let's give Sarah a round of applause.
Walter, I want to just say to everyone about Sarah. Sarah is a investor-friendly real estate agent. So, this is very important in your real estate investing career, that finds an agent who understands what investors are looking for. Not only is she doing her own deals, but she's there to help you and serve you. So, Sarah, if you want to put your information in, how they can get hold of you, like I said, work with an investor-friendly agent, make your life easy and simple.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And Sarah's also a really helpful part of our community. So let's give her one more round of applause for volunteering all the time she puts in with us. It means a lot.
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. Excellent. Let's jump into some more free stuff. Who likes free things? Hands to if you like free stuff. Awesome. Awesome. I mean, it's only free to members. So I want to be very clear about that. Only free to our members. And this screen, can you see all the free stuff on the screen? Yes. Yes. Where'd my video go? Awesome. Excellent. There's more. There's more. The membership is extremely affordable. It's only $280 per year for a single person and $380 for a couple. Hands to the camera if you know you're coming in with a couple. If you have a spouse that you want to bring into this, then you're single. Hands to the camera if you're single. Doing it by yourself. Awesome. Let's give our single people a round of applause. Great job. So the membership is affordable. It's easy to get into. It is probably one of the more affordable memberships that I'm a part of. I'm a part of masterminds that are $20,000 a year, $15,000 a year, $10,000 a year. And when I look at the membership and I see a $280 price point, I think that's a no-brainer. That makes obvious sense to get access to this stuff live in person. And it's a one-time fee with all of the training online. Obviously, each year you got to pay a whopping $280 again. Hands to the camera if you know that's a discount. That's a deal compared to some of the stuff I'm in. Yeah, I agree with you. So Kelly's number is 864-906-4111. It's still in the chat. Text her now and just ask her how to get involved. It's very easy. You get free access to all of our meetings, especially valuable when we're in person. The money is in the room. The people you meet are where you make your money in real estate investing. So text Kelly really quick, 864-906-4111. And don't just text her, text your name so she knows who you are. Hands to camera if that's an easy instruction. We get how that works. Yes. Awesome. Excellent. Text her your name. Text her now and get access to the Boston REIA. This is a very valuable point for everybody on the call. Pay attention. This is where we do our haves, wants, and needs. So drop in the chat something that you have, want, and need, and then more important, put your contact information. This is assuming you want somebody to reach out to you. If you want to be left alone, you don't have to do anything here. Just watch the chat. But if you're looking for something like a deal, looking for money, looking for partners, or looking for mentorship or education, now is the time to drop that into the chat. What are you looking for? If you're on Facebook, this is the same opportunity for you as well. Drop it into the chat. Drop in. Oh, okay. Maria, I'm going to pro tip. We already know your name. It says it right on the side. So contact information. So put in either a phone number or email address. And more importantly, what are you looking for? It's very hard to help somebody who doesn't have a clear understanding of what they're looking for. So for me, I'm looking for deals in Fall River, Massachusetts. I like 3 families or more. I don't buy single families. I don't buy duplexes. But if it's 3 units or more, I will take a look at it. And I think that's easy enough, right? I said, okay, there we go. Drop in contact information. Very good. Be very clear about what you're looking for. Are you looking for money? Are you looking for deals? And be clear about your location. I don't buy 3 families that are 1 bedrooms. I prefer 2 and 3 bedrooms. Hands to the camera if you understand how clear that is. Very easy to shop for me. Awesome. Excellent. And if you're looking for money, make sure you drop your contact information. The worst thing to do is know that people want to help you, but they have no way to help you, no way to contact you. Hands to the camera if you recognize that's a problem. There'll be a problem in your business. People have money and want to give it to you, but they can't find out how to get in touch with you. So use the chat. This is your opportunity. We call it haves, wants, and needs. I'm going to move on to the next section, but you can continue to use the chat. The mentorship. Hands to the camera if you know it'd be easier to become rich if you had a millionaire guiding you along the way. Hands to the camera if that sounds like an easier strategy. Yes. Excellent. Do you already have a millionaire guiding you along the way? Hands to the camera if you already got a millionaire who's showing you the way. All right. All right. We got some. We got a few. Excellent. Who knows that they would like one or would like to hear about having one? How easy it is to get into a millionaire's pocketbook, the phone number. All right. So millionaires are not run of the mill. There's not one every block. Obviously, these are rare individuals. There's only 17 million of us in the United States. Out of 320 million people in the United States, only 17 million of us exist. We recognize that that makes up about 5% of the population. So if you're going to try to meet one of us, you've got to find a way to do that. And then you have to find a way to get their time. What I've built was something for people who are looking to move fast. So if you're looking to read books, cool. I wrote books. If you want to find out how to get your first $250,000, go buy the book, $7. After you've read the book, you can have a conversation with me. If you're looking for finding deals, $24. Go to Amazon, go get Real Estate Alchemist, get the deal. If you can't afford $1,000, I get it. I've hosted over 300 videos on YouTube. Go watch the free videos. Find out how to make more money that way. If you don't have the money to invest for a year-long mentorship, $1,000 for a year-long mentorship where I guarantee, listen to this, I guarantee that you'll put an offer in within 60 days. Hands to the camera if you know putting an offer in with 60 days means you buy a house within 4 months. Yes? And I'm talking about a cash flowing house. I'm talking about no money down. You get the deal, no money down, and it cash flows. Is that something you'd be interested in? Is that why you're here tonight? To learn how to get cash flow? Yes? Excellent. Excellent. Does $1,000 seem like a lot of money? No. Oh, I like that. Wow. Okay. We got a smart room. And for everybody who doesn't have the cameras on, there's 42 people in the room and I see 9 people here, or I see 10 people, which means there's a lot of you who are afraid to go and take action. So as a mentor who's not being paid for you, by you right now, let me give you some free advice. In these calls, be seen. Turn your cameras on. The more interaction that we do, the more money we make. So everybody who I see raising their hands or rubbing their chin, I know I'm saying something interesting. Does that make sense? I see you, Harriet. Yeah, hell yeah. That's a good sign of engagement and it's something I can work with. If your camera's off, I can't help you. Does that make sense? People with the cameras on, we get it? Yes. Awesome. So mentorship is how I built my wealth. I went up to rich people. I asked them how they got rich. We can see how this is an easy strategy. Who here has ever done that before? Ask a rich person how they got rich. Yes. Yes. Excellent. Did they give you good advice? Chance to camera if they gave you good advice. Yes. Awesome. Excellent. It works. It's crazy. So I went after millionaire after millionaire after millionaire. My phone is an interesting phone book because I had a coach I paid $35,000 for. My coach asked me, he said, how many millionaires in your phone? I was like, maybe 5. He's like, dude, you need more than that. Go and get more millionaires. And so I went out and I spent about a year hunting millionaires. And I came back to the mastermind 3 months later. And he said, how many millionaires do you have? And I said, I have 100 millionaires in my phone. And he thought I was lying. And I told him, I was like, dude, you sent me on a mission. I set a goal for 100 millionaires. And I hit 100 millionaires in 3 months. Anybody got to guess how I did it? Any guesses? I did a podcast. I created the Alchemist Nation podcast. And in 3 months, I did over 100 interviews. In 3 months, that means I was doing 16 a day. 16, I was anywhere between, not a day, sorry, 16 a week. Interview after interview after interview. I was just crushing appointments. And I created a whole year's worth of content in 3 months. But it wasn't about the content. It was about the contacts. It was about the people I could get in touch with. We're talking syndication investors, guys who have 10,000 units, 9,000 units. I got Rod Cleef on the podcast. Who knows who Rod Cleef is? Hands care if you know who Rod Cleef is. What about the real estate guys? What about Bob Allen, who wrote The 1 Minute Millionaire? Who knows Bob Allen? What about Mark Victor Hansen, who wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul? Who knows that guy? Yes? All right, you at least know his book. How about Jake and Gino? Who knows the Jake and Gino podcast? These guys are syndicators across the country. Awesome. Personal friends now. Because not only did they come on my podcast, I promoted them, I put them on my website, but I put them on other people's podcasts. Be a connector. This is one of the things that I do for the people who are more important, who I'm like trying to level up and learn from. I go and I serve. I create value for them, add value, whatever they're looking for, I go and I find. Hands to the camera if you know that's a good path. Because you think, why would a millionaire go and give me anything? Like, why would they teach me? Find ways to add value. And if you don't have ways to add value, you pay for them. Some of my coaches I've paid very heavily for. Hands to the camera if you know that's part of the game too. You can buy it. You can speed your way through just by paying. Absolutely. At this point in the game, I'm too lazy to go and do all the work for these guys sometimes. Like authors, it's tough. They don't always offer coaches, coaching programs. They don't always offer masterminds. So sometimes I've just had to do like the podcast in order to get in touch with them. So the mentorship is affordable. It's easy to get in touch with me. I also do a training. I'm doing a training this weekend, this Saturday at 10 for free on how to automate your real estate business. Who would like to automate their real estate business? Automate. This means you don't have to do anything. Yes? Excellent. It's at 10 a.m. Dorina, do you mind dropping the link for anybody who's interested? When you show up, please let us know that you came from the Boston REIA. When you come to this call, in fact, I'd say register tonight. This way I know everybody who registered was from the Boston REIA. This way I can give them credit and say, hey, look, it's working. They're moving forward. Excellent. Any questions on mentorship? You guys ready for the next slide? Yes? Hands to the camera if you're ready for the next slide. Awesome. Excellent. And you can ask questions at the end of the night, but tonight we have a tool that many of you have used. Who's used this tool before? Who's used PropStream already? All right. Okay. I know all of my students at one point or another has been a wholesaler. They have done flips, and they are heavily, heavily obsessed with the data that they're getting from PropStream, the resources, the tools that they're getting, because in one place, they can eliminate having a real estate agent. Well, not completely eliminate, but you don't have to have access to MLS. You can get PropStream. You get access to the deals off market. Find out the data. Find out the information. Tonight, we have a specialist who actually works at PropStream. He's a representative who knows the ins and outs of the program. This is a tool that everybody should have access to. Let's give a big round of applause to Burton Alejandro. And let's see if I pronounced that properly. Burton, you're up.
Yeah, you nailed it right on the head. First off, thank you so much for having me and giving me your time, everybody. I want to personally just say thank you for what you guys are doing. I say that from the bottom of my heart because about 8 years ago, my stepfather and mother made some bad decisions with their real estate. They got into a pretty nasty pickle, and what do you know? An investor helped them out. So they took them from being in debt to cash flowing their property. They did a sub-2 strategy, and they never looked back. So I want to thank you guys for what you're doing and the endeavor that you take to help other people. This is mainly the reason why I've been with PropStream for nearly a decade. Of all the businesses I've ever been, this is the best one. We're providing data for you guys to help other people. It's like a win-win-win situation. So that's a little bit about me, 10 years with PropStream. I just want you to look at me as your tour guide today, okay? So we just mentioned a little bit about what our system does. For the last 15 years, starting in 2006, PropStream has been collecting data on your behalf, and I'd like to start there. I'd like to start by exposing you guys to the type of data that we collect on your behalf. So let's just be real. You can do what we're doing without a doubt. You don't need us. You absolutely do not need us at all. You can do everything real estate related manually. You can go to the county. You can go grab your pre-foreclosure list. You can go grab your senior owner list. You can go grab your cash buyers list. You can network with realtors, grab their on-market listings. If they're cool with you, maybe they'll give you their failed listings, etc. Right? That's time consuming and very tedious. So we take care of that for you. We've been scraping data on your behalf for the last 15 years. And this is what our data sources are. So here at the top, we collect classifications, residential, commercial, industrial, vacant land, office, exempt properties, agricultural, just to name a few. What I'm referring to there are like the characteristics, beds, bathrooms, square footage, lot size, etc. But then on top of that, we buy data from a multitude of other providers, and you're seeing a few of them right here. So we collect tax successor data, pre-foreclosure data, open mortgage data, involuntary liens, MLS data nationwide, historical data like a failed listing, a sold listing, document images, HOA data, bankruptcy data, pre-probate. We're the only product in the nation to show you a pre-probate property. And you're probably wondering, what the hell does pre-probate mean? Well, if you're familiar with probate, it's the process of essentially dealing with an asset when someone's passed away who owned that asset, right? Pre-probate is unique because we've been able to identify someone who's passed away whose name is still on a property. Now, whether they're in probate or not, we don't know, right? I've seen people who had a deceased person's name on the title for years, and they've never had to go to probate because they just don't need to, right? So we're the first to identify deceased homeowners on a title. Flippers show you who's buying and selling properties in less than 2 years in your market or any market. Vacant data and FEMA flood zone data. This hasn't been applied yet, but this is coming very, very soon. So this is our business. Scrape data, provide it to you, but we provide it to you in a fashion that you're going to need. And that fashion is right here. I don't care if you're a lender, a broker, you work for the title company, you're a banker, a wholesale fix and flipper, you do short sales. I mean, you name it. If you're in the real estate space, if you're in sales in general, you need to do these two things. In real estate, it's lead generation and analyzing that property, right? Again, you can do this without PropStream. You can go grab your senior owners list, go grab your pre-foreclosure, start knocking on the door, start talking to people face to face, but you're going to need to know about their property eventually, right? You're going to need to know about the comps to get a value on that property. We do that for you with our data. Now, I'm not going to bore you to death and go through everything in our platform today, so I'd like to highlight the two main things, which are how to build a list in PropStream. And I'd like to show you some best practices and perhaps a new way that you can build a list that you probably have never seen before. It's called the 4 golden rules, and I'll get to that in a few moments. But I'm going to show you how to build a list, and then I'm going to show you how to analyze a property, what happens when they call you back, how you can use PropStream to negotiate. Now, when it comes to building a list, you can skip trace with PropStream. That's getting a cell phone, a landline, an email. And you can market to them if you'd like. We'll give you a free website for your lists. You can send out postcards. You can send out emails if you'd like. Okay. But again, I don't want to bore you to death. I'm actually just going to go straight into the gut of our system, which is let's build a list. So let me go ahead and get this for you. If I can just get a volunteer, can you guys see my screen? I just want to make sure you guys can see it all. Okay. If I can get another volunteer, you guys want to put a city or a county in the chat? I'll use the first 2 examples. I don't want to make you guys think I'm scripting this or anything. So if you guys want to give me your city, Anniston, Alabama. I've never heard of that. Let's use that. Okay. So Anniston, Alabama. Holy moly. I've learned something new today. Okay. Boom. We're here in Anniston, Alabama. So when you're searching a market, in this case, Anniston, Alabama, just think of it like you're going to the clerk's office in this market and just asking for all their records. So that's what we're going to do for you. So when I pulled up Anniston, Alabama, it's saying, hey, PropStream has 31,000 records for you to go through. Now, I'm not going to go through all those records manually. It's too much work. It's a waste of time. That's not how this is supposed to be used. So to help you out a little bit, we're going to categorize them for you. We're going to show you how many of them are on market, how many of these records are from pre-foreclosure, how many are bank-owned, cash transactions, etc. But let me be even more helpful for you. Just get used to going into our filter here at the top right. Now, before you get into our filter, there are a few tools I want to expose you to that could potentially help you find a good market. That's our analytics right here at the top right. Like, I'm not familiar with this market, but with our analytics, I have 4 heat map options. I can see estimated values, MLS stats, price growth, and rent value. So if I wanted to know what the estimated values are, I have some subcategories here. I'm just going to choose estimated value, and there's my color code right here to tell me what the prices are. If I want to know MLS listing prices, there you go. And if I want to see how this market has grown over the last year, perhaps, there you go. And I can see areas that have had substantial growth and focus my research there. And rent values. If I wanted to buy and hold in this market, I can see what those rent values are. Okay, so this could potentially guide you to making sure you're in the right place at the right time. But if you, again, are familiar with Anniston, you know, just in general, it's a good city. You don't need to use our heat map. As a matter of fact, once you pull up the market, go straight into our filter. And this is where things can get a little complicated. So I hope I cleared it up for you. But the first thing that you're going to see are quick list choices. There's 19 to choose from. And if you're wondering what zombie properties are, those are pre-foreclosures and vacant combined. As a matter of fact, if you go to our main website, propstream.com, there's a link here, and I'll go ahead and put that in the chat, of all of our quick list options and what they refer to and what their definitions are. So the first thing you'll see is the ability to choose a list and start with that list. And then after that, to the left-hand side, you'll have additional criteria that you can apply, like whether the owner is there, whether they're not there, whether they're answering their mail, not answering their mail, property characteristics, MLS filters, pre-foreclosure foreclosure filters, ownership info filters, lien, bankruptcy, divorce options, valuation and equity filters, and even mortgage filters. There's over 120 filters. There's a lot to choose from. And I don't want to go through all of them because I don't think you're going to absorb that. No offense, but it's just not going to work out in anybody's favor. So let me give you some best practices. I've worked in this part of the business for a long time. I've helped a lot of investors find leads. There are two ways to build a list that I've discovered along the way. And those two ways are the following. Everybody's doing the traditional search right now. Everybody in this real estate space. And what that refers to is the following. You're going to pick a list, make sure it's off market. Unless you want to buy it through an agent, then go for on market. You're going to put a minimum amount of equity. Unless you do short sales, then you probably don't need that. And then your property and owner characteristics. Right? Sounds familiar because you're probably doing it. Everybody's doing that. As to what list they choose, that's a different story, right? But you can do that in our system. Go into Anniston and say, I need all the senior owners in Anniston right now. But not just all the senior owners, I need the ones that are off market. So MLS filters, on market, no. I also need equity. So, right, MLS is the second option. Third is equity. So I'd go to valuation equity and say, I'm looking for maybe 40% in equity in this market or more. You can even put estimated values, rental values, but the main one is definitely estimated equity percentage. For this one, we'll just do, let's say 250 or under. And last, but certainly not least, this is where everybody's going to be different. What are your property and owner characteristics? So for this example, I can go to property characteristics and say, I want a residential property or an office space that's owned by a homeowner, which we don't have any, or commercial building owned by a senior owner. And there's a retail store right there. So you can choose any class. Most of us are in the residential, so you'll probably do that one. And then you can choose what type of property. So do you want single family residential, apartments, duplexes? For this one, we'll do single family. Beds, bathrooms, year built. I mean, some best practices I see are like, someone mentioned earlier, 2 to no more, nothing 1 bedroom. So 2 bedrooms minimum or more, maybe 2 to 4. Maybe something built 1990 or before, because maybe buying a property that was built last year is not going to really pan out for wholesaling, right? Not to say you can't, but probably not a very high likely it's going to do that. So these are your property characteristics. Heck, you might even be a fix and flipper, and so you want to stay away from the HOA. So you can exclude those data sets as well, okay? So this is our property characteristics. The last thing is our owner characteristics. So we can say, okay, this senior owner, I don't want them in that house, or I want them in that house. So it looks like all of our results were owner occupied. None of them were non-owner occupied. Now, just because it's owner occupied doesn't mean that they're actually there, right? So are they actually answering their mail, or are they not answering their mail? Like, what happened? This might require more research, by the way. So those are the first 2 owner characteristics options. And then right here, ownership info. These are your last ownership options. So things like years of ownership, obviously maybe put like 10 years. No one's going to sell you the house if they just bought it last month, right? So you can do like 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, whatever it may be. Owner type. So I'm looking for an individually owned property or corporate owned property or a trust. Numbers of property owned has become a big one. So I'm looking for a senior owner with multiple properties. Location. Looking for a senior owner out of state. Think of the pandemic. This was a big one last year. A lot of investors were looking for senior owners out of state. That was a big target. Now, I can stop there or add more. Pre-foreclosure, lien, mortgage information. Again, it's up to you. But as long as you're following these 4 steps, you'll be on the right track. And I just did that, right? Senior owner off market, 40% equity, property owner characteristics. I can now hit close, and here are my 127 senior owners that are off market with the right amount of equity and characteristics I want. I can now hit add to list here on the right side, call it my Anniston senior owners, and then hit save. Now, when you save a list, you do get up to 10,000 records every month if you're a subscriber, 50 during the trial period. But once you save a list, that pretty much concludes part 1. You've searched, you've filtered, you've saved your list. Now you can export. So here in my properties, I can click on my Anniston senior owners. My property is like your filing cabinet. So you can click on my Aniston senior owners, check them off, and now hit the export button here at the top. And that gives you an Excel sheet. But here's where you got to be understanding. When you're building a list with us using our data that we collect, it's just the address, owner's name, and mailing address. That's it. So if that's all you need, then great. If you need contact information, that's why there's a part 2 and part 3. Part 2 is skip tracing. That's this feature right here. I simply need to click on it, select the list, place the order, and then in my contacts area, because again, skip tracing is to get contacts, at the bottom left is where you'll see your completed skip trace list with their contact information. And then from here, you can pick up your phone, start calling or shooting off text messages. We do have a campaign area. So this is the final area of lead generation. This area will give you a landing page. You'll send postcards and emails if you'd like. So for like this campaign of mine, this is an auctions campaign. So with the campaign here, I get a free website for this campaign and I can send postcards, voicemails, and emails. But the cool thing about the website is that you can create it how you want. So my website says, hey, I buy houses. We close in 30 days. 30 days because you're up for auction. We got to move quick. But for my cash buyers campaign over here, the website for that is something entirely different. It says, hey, cash buyers, how would you like to make $200,000? So that was the purpose of the campaign. Every campaign should have a separate website so you can address their situation separately. So this right here, ladies and gentlemen, is the first thing that we're going to assist you with. The second part is that I do hope this happens, that they actually call you back, right? What happens when one of these Aniston senior owners calls you back? Let's say Miller Lane calls us back. Like, what do we do when that happens, right? Or what, anything? Well, if someone were to call you back, this is probably the reality. You're logged out, you're probably watching TV, you log in, and you're going to go into our search bar, right? They're probably on the phone with you. Hi, thanks for calling me back. What's your address? Now, it doesn't have to be in your market. It can be in any market. Maybe you pulled the list in Aniston, but the homeowner says, I'm not trying to sell my Aniston house. I'm trying to sell my house in Henderson, Vegas, or Las Vegas in general, right? So you can analyze a single property anywhere. You just go to that market and you can either click on the parcel or search the address. If you search this Vegas address or whatever address, instead of all the results on the right-hand side like we had earlier, it's just this specific property. And so right off the bat, I'm going to be able to see the beds and bathroom square footage, year built. So I could confirm that with the owner. Is it 3.2, 1,500? Oh, it is. Great. Now, before I go into the details, there are a few things that I would encourage you to look at. The cash buyer records that could determine whether this is a good deal or not. And the statistics down here. Lots of information down here, but to me, the most important one would probably be like the days on market. If you're the fix and flipper, probably want to know how fast these properties are going. Okay. Last and certainly not least, when you're actually talking to someone, you're going to want to go into the details. In the details are the property information, financial information, situational data, and the ability to run comps, the 4 things that you need. So for this property, the first tab is the property details. Roberto and Amy own this property. And that's important because if Roberto called me, I know there's a second owner. I probably should ask to have Amy online. Property characteristics, building size, land location information, legal description, all of that's going to be there. Again, used to negotiate. Rather than asking how old the building is, you can now say, hey, I see it's 60 years old almost. When's the last time you did the roof, right? So property details are first, and we'll put that information here at the top with a summary, like years of ownership, owner occupied, etc. Second piece of information, mortgage and transaction history. So we're going to let you know if there's a mortgage that we've identified, who the lender is, what we potentially calculated to be the balance, and past transactions as well. Then we have the situational data, like the length of ownership, whether it's occupied or not. This person's going through a bankruptcy. There's a bankruptcy tab. If a person's going through an auction or a pre-foreclosure, there'll be a pre-foreclosure tab. So that's situational data that we believe you need to know when you're dealing with that property owner. And last, but certainly not least, to wrap this demonstration up, the comparables and nearby listings. Oh, sorry here. So the comparables and nearby listings, I believe, is the last part of the conversation. It could be 5 minutes in, it could be 30 minutes in, but you're going to make an offer eventually. And most likely it's not a full price offer. So in the comparables and nearby listings, we're going to give you a lot of options, but it's really the first box that's the most important. Here you're going to be able to use public records, MLS records, or both combined, and apply filters to get your comps. So this is a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom property. I'm going to keep it to a year. I can move that, maybe go up to June, 6 months back. Look for 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, year built, square footage, what type of MLS record, what type of public record. Most of us are using finance records. You can see if someone's buying more than one property. You can increase or decrease your distance, type of property, residential, single family in this case. And now here on the right-hand side, you have your comps that you can negotiate with. So when I'm talking to Robert and Amy, and they keep asking for full price, knowing that the house is not in great condition, I can say, hey, have you heard of Wallace Drive? Yeah, what about it? I'm looking at this property and it looks like it's sold and it's in great condition for 305. I can't give you 310 like you're asking for. Not only that, but you can check off these results, go to actions, and generate a report within Proption. And what we do is actually give you our data. You can hand this to Roberto and Amy. It's their property info, the comps calculation, where the comps are, and photos as well, if available. So very powerful tool. Again, our goal is to solve 2 fundamentals, and that was generate leads and analyze a property. So I do want to thank you guys so much for giving me your time to explain that. I'm sure you guys have questions, so please bring up your questions.
Hey, thank you very much, Burton. So can you talk to us a little bit about Airbnb, and is there a way to see, what properties or neighborhood or Airbnb and how we can look at rental rates and that sort of stuff?
So we don't have Airbnb properties data. In terms of rental rates, we do have that within the software. So you'll have a rental price here at the top right. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me share my screen. So for rental rates, when you're within the property details, you'll have that here at the very top right. Another thing that you can do, because we have the MLS data, this is kind of a little trick. You can search the market, let's say Las Vegas, and use our MLS data. So what I do is I go to the filter, I say I want MLS, but I want everything listed under $10,000. That's usually a rental property. And you'll be able to see those rentals here on the right side.
All right, awesome. And then, so if somebody's new that is looking to start using, let's say, a list service, do you have a preferred list? Do you think probate would be a better list than another list to start off with, and foreclosures? Does this also cover bank-owned properties too?
Absolutely. That's a very great question. We cover most of those. So in terms of what lists you have, you got your pre-foreclosures, your bank-owned, pre-probate. In terms of what is the best list to go after, there really isn't a good or bad list, I say, at the end of the day. I mean, sure, there are some that are more motivated, like an auction, than a person that missed their tax payment, but they're both still leads. Now, one might require more time and patience than the other, whereas this one might also be more competitive because everybody knows auctions are very motivated. So there really isn't a right or wrong list. I just would understand the realities that each that each category has a different swallow that wrong. That each category has a different level of motivation.
Okay.
Oh, sorry about that.
That's all right. So let me ask another question, because one thing I did see in here was your skip tracing, and then I saw it was 10 cents. I thought 10 cents for skip tracing is very good. When I started skip tracing, it was $2 per skip trace. And then eventually, I think the cheapest offer I got was down to anywhere between 25 cents and $1. And then I see you guys at 10 cents, which is extremely good. And it was extremely fast here. So can you talk to us a little bit about the skip tracing, how that's done? I saw email addresses come up there too.
Yeah, so the way that skip tracing works is just like with the data that we collect for real estate, we collect data from providers that collect contact information, like recorded contact information. So when you skip trace with us, we pretty much take any lists that you've saved and run it through our third-party providers for that cost. It's normally 12 cents. It's 10 cents if you have a certain package. That's what I have. So it's 12 cents for everybody. Again, 10 cents if you have a certain package. But
That's extreme. Even 12 cents, extremely cheap.
yeah, I mean, and the cool thing too is we don't charge you if you don't get any results. So when you're skip tracing, what that does is it, again, gives you phone numbers and emails to a list. And in terms of like the contact information, because a lot of people ask this, and what's the accuracy of that? We can't answer that. And the reason we can't answer that, and I have to explain this to people time after time, it depends on the list that you're skip tracing at the end of the day. Like if you're trying to skip trace a pre-foreclosure list or an auction list or someone that filed for bankruptcy, there's some financial issues. So they're probably not paying a phone bill, right? And if you're not paying your mortgage or a credit card, like you're going to get bombarded by creditors. And so if an investor were to call them, their investor is already a creditor in that person's mind, right? Now, if you skip trace, let's say a cash buyers list or a senior owners list, the accuracy might actually be better at that point because you're not dealing with a financially distressed category. You're just dealing with people with a lot of equity, people that are senior owners or a cash buyer, for example. That list, if you skip trace, I'm sure about, now don't quote me, but I'm sure about 80+% will definitely answer at that point because these are cash buyers and they see an unknown number. They think it's a wholesaler with a contract. So that's my best answer I can give you. There's no real like accuracy on it. It's just if you get a hit, it's 12 cents or 10 cents. And then depending on your list will again dictate your accuracy.
Okay. 2 questions. Todd asked, he asked, is that the tax delinquent list? Is there anything more you can say about that? Or because I guess it really doesn't matter if it's a tax deed or a tax lien state or.
Well, a tax delinquency just indicates that they missed on their scheduled payment. So if their payment was, let's say, March 1st and they didn't pay it, they're going to be on the tax delinquency list. Now, if they continue that behavior, and every county is different, it could be maybe 6 months, a year, maybe up to 3 years on average. But that tax delinquency will then turn into a lien or what you call a tax lien. So I would say in terms of the order of operations, it goes tax delinquency first, then your tax liens, and then it goes into pre-foreclosure if they don't take care of that lien.
Awesome. So my last question was, after the skip trace, I saw the website. Do you have a mail program or an email program that we can go right from here to contact them?
In our campaign, we have 3 marketing elements. 2 now. One of them was disabled. That's the ringless voicemail that you're seeing right now.
Yeah, there's a big controversy in the law right now about that.
Absolutely. The Federal Trade Commission, and I think it's called the Traced Act, put a shutdown on that. So with our campaigns, you can send postcards, and those are tiered price. And you can upload your own postcard or use one of our templates. So tons of templates for you guys to choose from. And the other marketing option is the email campaign where you can email directly to the homeowner from our system, assuming that you've skip traced that list.
Well, that's extremely, that's a wow. I mean, really, you have everything all in one. So I'm just going to tie this in, guys. You know, if you had this program with Walter's mentoring program that Boston REIA recommends, I mean, you have a 1-2 punch here, guys. You have leads coming at you. Now you just have to go out and, chat to them, get in communication with them somehow and start knowing how to structure a deal. So this tool is one that, the REIA recommends and uses itself. Burton, could you just give us, there's a discount for this for REIA members. Could you tell us a little bit about that and how they can get it?
Yeah, absolutely. So you're probably going to go to propstream.com to sign up. When you sign up, there's going to be a little blank line that's going to ask you, how did you hear about PropStream or who referred you? Please type in the Boston REIA. That will allow our team to make sure you guys get the discount, which is $97 a month. That's your price if you make sure you type in the Boston REIA. I don't care if you put a space, just make sure it says Boston REIA when you're signing up.
Guys, I got to tell you just on this. So before PropStream, I was going to listserv, great guys, and all they do is pre-probate inherited property trust list, but they were charging $1.25 per lead. And then you could only get like 100 probably every 3 months. So, you know, when you look at $97 for the amount of leads and data you can download, this is extremely expensive. It's a no-brainer because I've paid, if I give you examples of other lists paying thousands of dollars, this is in the older days, of course, when we didn't have access to all this web stuff. This is extremely cheap. So, you know, just imagine now you have a lead and you say, Walter, I need your help, you know, help me contact this person or, you know, negotiate a deal. You know, what else? How simple can we make it for you with the REIA? And if it's a fix and flip, giving you all the money back from the home discount, give you the private lender in there too. I mean, the REIA is here to help you do this. And this is why we go through this, this is real world tools to help you become successful. So I'm going to turn it over to Walter for a moment and ask some questions from Burton, but thank you very much, Burton.
Oh, absolutely, guys. Let me cut my screen there.
Awesome. Hanson Cameron, if you gained some value from tonight's training already. Awesome. Awesome. So now's a good time to ask questions. Obviously, I've been working with PropStream for a long time now. We use it with all of our students because information is necessary. You have to be able to dive in now. You have to be competitive. We can see that other investors are using this stuff, right? So if you're not competing with them, you're falling behind. If you don't have access to these contacts, you don't have access to knowing what the right information is, you're going to be door knocking, you're going to be cold calling, but you're going to be calling the wrong people, right? If you have a list that's 3,000 people long, or you have a list that's 30, but it's the right people, who gets through that list faster, who actually ends up with money. I bet if you have a 3,000 person list, you don't even get through it. There's no way. But a 30 person list, that's the right people. You're building real relationships. You can call them 10 times in a month instead of one time every 3 months, and you'll actually be able to close more deals. Hands Cameron, if you recognize that's true. This is leverage, my friends. This is leverage. This is how you compete in today's extremely competitive industry. If you want to put names on deeds, you have to get very good at being able to find sellers where they're at and having those good conversations. I want to open it up to questions. Here's one thing that I learned from my mentors. And one of them said to me, he said, Walter, when you don't ask me questions, I know you haven't done anything this week. You haven't done enough to run into any problems. So if somebody doesn't have questions, they're not active. If somebody doesn't have questions, they're not serious. If you've never done a deal, you should have questions. If you're actively reaching out to sellers, if you're researching, if you're making phone calls, you should definitely have questions. If you're putting offers in, you should have questions. If you're not putting offers in, you should be asking why not. This makes sense. We understand the value of questions. And here's the other conversation I want to have around questions. There's no such thing as a dumb question. The only dumb question is the one you don't ask. Truly, truly. Like if I didn't ask dumb questions, I wouldn't know everything that I know. Does that make sense? We get how that works? So I want to open it up. Ask me a dumb question about real estate. Ask me a smart question about real estate. But more importantly, like Paul did at the beginning of the call, ask me a question that's relevant to you making money right now. I run a mastermind once a month, and here's my focus question at that mastermind. I ask my students, what is the one thing stopping you from making $1 million this year? The one thing stopping you from making $1 million this year. We'll just open it up. You drop it in chat, or you can unmute your mic. And if you have questions about PropStream, let's ask those first while Burton's on the call with us.
Yeah, I do have a few moments to spare. So if you guys have any questions, I could probably take one or two, and then I got to go pick up my son at the YMCA. But I did leave our customer support number and our email. You'll see that in the chat. But does anybody have any questions regarding PropStream?
You just unmute your mics.
I'm just going to give it to them again. It's propstream.com. When you go to sign up, don't look at the price right there. Put in the coupon code Boston REIA, and you'll get your discount. So that's all you need to do, propstream.com. I'll put it in the link and get your discount. And Walter will, also can help you out with how to enroll in the mentor program and get your first, get your contracts out and make an offer within 60 days, which he'll probably have you make an offer within 30 and do a deal within 60 if I know him.
There's a good question here. I see Tom asked. He
Gold.
said, in PropStream, if we are searching for pre-probate personnel, it doesn't make sense to skip trace them. Although that does make sense logically, right? Because you're going to be skip tracing a deceased person. I wouldn't rule it out. I'm going to use my personal experience. In 2019, my stepfather passed away from lung cancer, and we kept his phone active for 8 months after because relatives were finding out through other people. And so we were still addressing the phone calls, right? So you have a very, very logical, sound reason as to why perhaps you shouldn't. But I wouldn't rule it out. Again, 12 cents, pick up the phone, whether they answer or don't answer determine that, because you could lose a lead on that. So I like that question, but yeah, I got to run out. I thank you guys so much. I would love to get my camera back on, but I forgot to charge this camera and it looks like it died in the middle of the presentation, but you guys are awesome. I'll talk to you guys later. Take it easy.
Cheers. Thank you, Burton. Let's give him a round of applause. Awesome. Awesome. Let's open up to questions. This is your chance, your opportunity. I was at 10X Growth Conference 3 years ago, and a woman came out on stage and she brought this young gentleman up and she asked him, "What do you want?" Now, he was in front of 35,000 people. This was in Las Vegas. This was their third 10X. It was the second one I'd gone to. And she asked, "What do you want?" And the kid stumbled. He had 35,000 ears and eyes on him. And this is what he said: "I want to be happy." Dumbest thing to say on stage. You say, "I want you to go to my website," right? "I want you to text my number." Like something intelligent. You have the opportunity to make money. And right now you have 38 people on the call who could hear you ask a question and know what you're doing in your business. The people who don't ask a question are one day going to look back at this moment and say, "Damn it, I should have said something." Let me remind you, it was a room like this. I raised $1 million. Do you want to know the story of how I did it? Hands to camera if you'd like to know how I raised $1 million in a Zoom call. When the speaker gave me an opportunity, I turned my microphone on. I looked at everybody. I looked at myself. I looked at everybody, and I said, "I'm looking to raise $1 million to buy a $2 million building in Fall River. Who would be interested in that deal? Put your hand to the camera." And everybody put their hand up. And I said, "Here's my phone number. Text me." You grasp how this works, right? Eyeballs on you means money. So we're going to open it up to questions. Any questions you have, first person on unmute goes first. Go ahead.
Hello. Hi.
Hey, Camila. Good choice. Let's give her a round of applause. Look at that. That's an action taker right there. Awesome. Awesome. What do you got?
Thank you. Thank you. I'm Camelia. I really appreciate this. It's been very helpful. I do have a question. So I've been talking to a couple of real estate agents, in the Boston area. And one of the things that I hear a lot is as soon as I tell them I'm looking for investment property with the multifamily first-time buyer, different type of loans and stuff, they immediately tell me that this is a very rough market. It's very hard to get a good deal, let alone an investment deal. We really suggest that because I've done a lot of research and I read a lot and I know there are other ways besides conventional ways to purchase a home. And they keep telling me I really, really insist on you getting a conventional loan and put like $100, $200 grand, like $1,000 down. And it's very discouraging. And I know it's like, that's not the case. I know you could get like a lot of properties out there with good deals, but it's how do you even work with a real estate agent that from right off the bat, they're, kind of not positive and don't really see your vision? What do you
Let's
do?
give Camila a round of applause. Yes, exactly, Camila. You're right. Let's give Camila a round of applause for being brave and asking that question. And I think that everybody on the call needs this answer. Like Camille said, you don't, but what do you do? What should you do? I would say Sarah is on the call right now. So she's a licensed real estate agent who is investor friendly, works in Boston. So Sarah, if you could drop your contact information. And I've been training real estate investors for years. I teach a course called Working with Investors. Real estate agents don't know how to work with investors. Rule number one to working with investors is teach them how to get the money. Teach them how to get the money. I'm going to give you my website. This is for everybody who's on the call right now. Can you see my face? See my face on the call? All right. So it's my first and last name. If it's difficult to spell, look, practice. Once you get it, you'll never forget it. GualterAmorello.com. When you go in here, click the link that says Alchemist University. This link is going to bring you to a free website where you get to create your free account up here. Just ignore the price. You can ignore that. Go over to the create a free account. Once you're in the university, you can come down to this training course called Get the Money. In Get the Money, part 1 and part 2, I did a 4-hour training on how to raise private capital. Hands to the camera if you'd like to be able to raise private capital. You'd like to be able to answer all the questions on how to raise private capital. Awesome. That's a good idea. In that training, I have very interesting documents. Who likes the idea of a promissory note for raising private capital? Is that valuable to you? I believe it should be valuable. Negative money thoughts. So if anybody tells you can't make money, you can actually go into this training and write them down. This is actually part of the live training. So you have to watch the video to do this. Property analysis. This is a sheet that you can use to analyze property for raising private capital. The different types of financing. This is just a basic sheet that lets you know the different types of financing available to you. Your PFS, which is a personal financial statement. This is when you start getting into commercial stuff. You need to have an idea of how that looks. The cover letter for $1 million deal. Remember the $1 million deal I was talking about? Who'd like to see the cover letter for that deal? The letter I wrote to my private lenders that explained it. It's right on the website. It's right in there. And then the cover letter description template, so you can write your own cover letter for your own deals. Who believe this is valuable? I included in the mentorship. Is that cool? Is it cool that I include all that? I think that's what you should do. Here's the promissory note. Look, you can fill it out yourself. I had this reviewed by my attorney, who is also a part of the mentorship. If you want to talk to my attorney, it doesn't cost you anything. You get a free conversation with him when you sign up for the mentorship. And then, these are now commercial loans. These are documents for the commercial loans. So any questions when it comes to money, there's that course. There's Get the Money. There's obviously Get the Deal, which is a much bigger course because I teach about how to do everything they told you in PropStream, how to find them. I go in and teach you how to lock them down, how to negotiate, how to do the contracts. This is just the on-demand stuff. You can literally ask me any questions in the mentorship. Who here has more questions? Who'd like to know a little bit more? And these are free as well. All these up here are free. Everything down here is mentorship students. Names on Deeds, which, by the way, can I tell you about Names on Deeds, what this is all about? Names on Deeds is a 2-day program that I teach. We just finished uploading modules 1 and 2 out of 35. When this is completed, you'll be able to go in here and learn how to do every aspect of raising capital, every aspect of running a deal, and you'll be able to implement within 30 days, go and put offers in. The guarantee is 60 days because, some people are slackers. Some people are a little bit slow and we got to be patient. What questions do you have? This is your chance to ask a question that could be valuable to everybody else. Who thought Camila's question was valuable to them as well? Absolutely. There's a reason I train real estate agents. I'm sick and tired of agents who don't work with investors. And when they say, oh, I'm looking for creative financing, or I'd like to do a seller financing deal. And the agent says, oh, sorry, no, I don't do that. It's a competitive market. Dude, I still do seller financing today in this market. Of course, I haven't brought a down payment to a deal in 3 years. Why would I? Why would I? I'm going to help the seller out when I can raise private capital from people that I meet. We're getting this, right? An agent should never, ever, ever turn away a person. This is the definition of a buyer. If there's agents on the call, definition of a buyer. They should never turn a buyer away if the buyer has one of two things. 1, the desire to buy, and 2, access to capital. And if a buyer comes to me without access to capital, I'm going to teach them how to get access to capital. Does that make sense? I'm also a licensed agent. Don't even ask me to take you out on a property. I will not. But I have my license since 2013. I've trained over 5,000 real estate agents across the country because that's my mission. I'm on a mission to build 100 millionaires And I need real estate agents to be able to work with investors properly to do that. Does that make sense? It's highly leveraged. I have to train the agents so that they can go and help the investors do their deals. And I train agents for free because agents don't have money, which is why I literally train agents for free so that they serve the mission, so that they'll help you guys out there the right way. So I see Maria already unmuted her mic. Maria, you're up next. Smart girl. Let's give her a round of applause.
Thank you. So my question is actually realtor related. I'm working with a realtor right now. Thank you. And
We got a theme of the night. Let's do it.
yes. So I just really don't know how to approach this. They want me to sign an exclusivity. Yeah, so that's where I'm at right now, because I'm trying to explain to them what my goals are. And I don't want to tie my hands with just one realtor. I want to be able to keep my options open. So should I just be completely bold and say I will not sign? I mean, how does that work?
You don't even have to respond back, Maria. There's 7,000 licensed agents in the Boston area. Just walk away, move on.
Okay.
The state of Massachusetts has 30,000 licensed real estate agents. You're going to be okay. There's no shortage of agents. We're getting that. The dime a dozen, my friends. If they're asking you to sign an exclusivity agreement, move on. You should have dozens of real estate agents operating and hunting for you. That being said, if you're looking for a turnkey property, if you're looking to get some education, if you're looking to get a realtor who's going to help you evaluate deals, Sarah's willing to do that with you on the buy side. And if you're going in and you're buying a property that's on MLS, the seller is already paying for the agent. So you might as well work with an agent who is sophisticated, knows how to invest, and is investor friendly. So if a buyer agent will not show you properties or will not get you into a deal, yeah, move on to somebody else. If they're looking to get an exclusivity agreement signed, no, that just means, they don't trust you.
Yeah. So I guess what I'm also wondering is that, so this person I'm working with is really awesome. She's very engaged. She has shown me a couple of properties. I think she'll be a great connection. I just need her to understand that I'm not going to be a typical buyer.
Yes.
So I need her to know that I can't just give my complete attention just to her and her agency.
Hell yeah,
So-
Maria, this is an easy conversation. This
Okay.
is a lot like back in the day when I was a player. By the way, I date Darina Pagoda here, the Russian princess. She's also a real estate investor in Worcester. That's my girlfriend. She's an amazing woman and investor. And so, baby, I'm sorry, I'm going to say this, but before I met Darina, I was dating 6 women at once, right? Because my fear was one woman meant I was close to none. With the real estate business, I have dozens of wholesalers working for me every single day, hunting for deals, dozens of realtors out there hunting for deals for me. If you're working with one realtor, they had better be the greatest realtor. That better be like a freaking marriage. They better be sending you, 10 deals a week to look at that are off market. Do you know what I'm saying? In order for you to like lock down and be like, okay, like I will sign this agreement if you're sending me 10 deals. Otherwise, this is the conversation I had with every girl that I dated back then, every realtor I talk to now. I am a real estate investor. My goal is to get to this level of income. And when I was single, I'd be like, hey, I'm looking to find the one. I'm going to date as many women at the same exact time until I find the one. And
Great
if they weren't
analogy.
cool with that, they weren't the one. You got to be able to compete in this world. Come on now.
Love
So
that.
Maria, if she gives you a hard time, send Sarah a text and get
Okay.
started with her.
Oh, I'm going to text Sarah regardless. Thank you.
See what I mean? That's how it's done. Yes. And if Sarah gets, hooks it and locks it down, then she's the one, right?
Absolutely.
Awesome. What other questions we got? Let's give Maria a round of applause. Great question. I love it.
Yeah, that was a great question. And
Thank
Sarah
you.
is the one.
See? What else do we have?
I had a quick question. This is Navi. In terms of I'm a new investor, obviously trying to learn as much as I can. Is it best when you start to have a turnkey or go straight into a fix and, a fix upper, You know, I'm just trying to figure out, is it best to get something that's fixed so you can learn the ropes and then turn to something that needs work, or move straight in, you know, is there work to be done?
You know, that's a really good question, Navi. And it's tough to get into because the answer is going to be different for everybody. I know guys who went turnkey early on, have done wonderful. I know guys who did like I did, where I went out and I did it all myself, managed everything. And I believe that slowed me down. So, but it comes down to really having a conversation with somebody who can like take the time to go and look at your life and your situation. I would say the mentorship is probably a good opportunity for that. Just have the call with one of the coaches. They'll look at where you're at, what you're doing, what your income level is, what your retirement goals are, what your age is. Because if you're like, when I started, I was 28 years old. So shit, like it didn't really matter if I was wasting time or not. You know, I was a millionaire by 32 and a millionaire by 34 through hard work. But I have students of mine who've come through and they're sitting on $250,000 and I made them a millionaire in 6 months. So it really depends on your actual experience, your personality type. We do the disc profile in the mentorship. So we identify what your personality type is, what you're going to be good at, what you're not going to be good at. So I'm not going to tell you go cold call if it's not your personality. Does that make sense? This goes for everybody. So don't do the wrong things just because there's no run-of-the-mill advice for an individual who's looking to build wealth. There's no run-of-the-mill advice for an individual who's looking to be in a unique investment like real estate. Your propensity of where you want to retire, Navi, is going to decide how you invest, right? I live in Tampa. I live in Florida, but I invested in Fall River, Massachusetts. To get here, I had to make some very different moves where if I wasn't planning on coming here, I could have done things very differently. So the easy answer is it depends on your time horizon, how quickly you like to retire, what your current cash position is, what your current experience is, and how much money you're looking to have in your retirement. That will dictate how you go into this. And then the other side is how hands-on do you want to be and how hands-off do you want to be? Because this game will offer every flavor of the pie. Cooked, uncooked, raw. You got every flavor, every size, every shape, every texture. And it will really come down to your personal situation, what you want to do with your life.
So I also want to say that I'm in your neck of the woods. I'm in Taunton, Mass, which is not that far off from Fall River.
Maria, I lived in Taunton for 4 years.
I just got here.
My first investment was out in Taunton, so I'm very familiar with the market.
Awesome.
Very cool. And now to finish that up is, I think that everybody can retire in 3 to 5 years. If somebody doesn't believe that when they sign up to the mentorship, I'm not going to work with you. Plain and simple. If you can't wrap your head around a 3 to 5 year event horizon, not worth my time. I make millionaires. That's my mission, 100 millionaires. I want to help everybody, but I don't have time for unmotivated people. I don't have time for people with small goals. Like my status of whether I hit this goal or not is dictated by how much, I only have a limited amount of hours. So it's dictated by who I spend time with every week. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So I'm a lazy person, man, right? I paid $130,000 to get the education I have, and I'm not talking about college. I flew out to Vegas to talk to coaches who would get me the information today. I wanted them looking at me and saying, this is my life, my experience, where I'm going. And that's what I built the mentorship for. So if you got like real questions, like real, like you, like what Navi just asked, like, hell yeah, I'm about it. You know, I'm about getting you there. And if you're just like, you know, I'll be a millionaire one day. No, you fucking won't. Like, I'll be real with you now. Like, no, like the people who say one day don't get it. The people who say, put the flag out there and say, I'm doing it in 3 years. I'm doing it in 5 years. Those are the people who go hard, figure it out. Yeah, we get some bumps and bruises in year one. Like, so what? Year one's who here has had a bumps and bruises in their life? Yeah, that's just a part of life. The time's going to pass anyway. So yeah, Navi, shoot me a text, man. 774-526-4796. You and I can just chat it up and like put a little plan together for you.
Yeah, sure. Great. Thank you.
Cool, man. Absolutely. And Maria, hell yeah, Taunton. I love it. Are you close to the green? Yeah. I was two minutes away from the green next to Tremont Street. My first move and flip out there. Oh yeah. I bought the worst house in a good area. I bought the best house in a bad area. It was a terrible move.
Yeah, I'm about 5 minutes away from there.
Nice. Excellent.
Well,
What else? Questions? Go ahead, Paul.
What is a key lesson you learned that you didn't learn through one of your mentors in your process?
Something I learned by myself.
Yeah, that you weren't taught through the mentors that you hired and worked with.
Listen. That was a lesson that I learned through my divorce. It was when you think you're listening, stop and listen. And I pushed that woman hard. You know, I sold the single family house. I built a dream home for her. And in 2012, I told her I want to sell the house so I can buy multifamilies. So I sold my single family. We took $34,000, rolled it into a multifamily. And within 6 months, she asked me for a divorce. And that was, you know, it's tough when you go from being worth 100,000 to being worth negative 25,000, right? And losing the love of your life. And so I would say listen was, you know, it's not like my mentors didn't tell me to listen. In fact, I had one of my mentors told me, he said, hey man, you're going a little too fast. You're not paying attention to your spouse, like take some time off. But I didn't listen. I was too thick-headed. I thought I knew everything. And, you know, it wasn't until that moment that I realized like I've not been listening, and, you know, people were giving me good advice and I wasn't taking it. So that great question, Paul. That is a phenomenal question. In fact, first time I've ever been asked that. Is there a follow-up question to that, Paul?
No, not this time. I mean, I know I don't want to be actively managing these properties, so I think my follow-up, if you could indulge me, would be, where would you find or look, how would you search for a good property manager?
What city again is it? Was it Plymouth or?
Well,
you said Malden. You mentioned a couple different cities.
Selling these because a person that I know that has about 10,000 units advised me you should buy properties with one heating system, one water heater, one roof, 10 plus units. So all my properties are individual heating systems, water. So I'm looking to sell and buy bigger units with, you know, consolidated heating systems and parking and.
Paul, I'm gonna disagree with this 10,000 unit person. Who is it?
Vios Theodorakis.
Dorina, you know Vios? No? Okay. So Dorina used to run the multifamily meetup in Boston. Yeah, up until recently. And she and I have both been speakers at that meetup. So all the syndication guys across the country. But I don't know Vios personally, but here's what I'll tell you. Never, and this goes against what he said, but never, ever, ever buy a building that has one heating system. You want to diversify the heating systems because when there's one, you pay for it. When there's split up utilities, that means you're not paying their utilities. You're not paying their bills. In fact, we've looked into splitting our water bill, splitting off our water units so that we're not paying the water bill anymore. Put that on the tenants. In Florida, landlords don't pay water because it's all split, right? In Vegas, landlords don't pay water because it's all split. You want split utilities. You never want to take on the payment of that. So in fact, A class, B class, C class real estate. C class real estate is the real estate that has one heating system. It's the worst real estate to manage. It's the lowest ROI when it comes to the expenses because you're paying so much for the heat. You're paying so much for the utilities. So Paul, I'd be very, very careful with the people you're getting advice from. Somebody who says they got 10,000 units, I would ask for proof. And by the way, having 10,000 units could just be an LP in deals. They could be a partner of somebody. Like I could say I got 10,000 units because I'm a partner in BlackRock, right? I own BlackRock stock, so I got 10,000 units. I'm a partial owner of 10,000 units. You know, it doesn't mean anything. The 50 units I own are real. Like that's real assets that I hold. I know all my tenants. They could text me anytime. They can follow me on Facebook. All right. Occasionally they talk shit. I talk shit back. Kidding. All my tenants love me, and I appreciate them paying their rent on time. It's a good experience.
All right.
Let's give Paul a round of applause. It's good questions, man. I like that. I'm glad you asked. I'm definitely glad you asked. What other questions do we have?
I have a question.
Sharon?
I got a question.
Oh, yo, Sharon, I'll give it to Mike because he unmuted first.
Michael, you were first. Go for it.
Thank you. So I just graduated college. I have a real estate job in Boston as an analyst for Arbor Realty Trust. And obviously I don't have the capital to invest in properties right now. So I'm exploring syndication. So I know how to analyze a property pretty well, I think, in my opinion. But every time I come across a property in this market, by the time I reach out, it's either gone or there's an offer on it. How do I get past that point where if I know it's a good deal that I could like reach out, put an offer on it? And also I don't have like the capital. So I'm looking to my parents are willing to help me out, and then like other family members and friends, but also looking to meet investors as well.
Yeah, man, that's a really good question. Let's give Michael a round of applause. Congratulations graduating on getting yourself in the lane and getting a job in real estate. That's very clever. And great job on already thinking about syndication, right? That's the next level. Once you run out of money, what do you do next? Raise capital, get partners. And syndication is a great tool to do that, especially if you have no money. Look, Mike, you're not special, man. Like everybody eventually has no money. Every real estate investor that I know, in fact, I created Get the Money and Names on Deeds because one of my millionaire friends whose net worth was like 4 million at the time, he said, man, like, what do I do? All my capital is out. How do I get more real estate? So I was like, all right, we'll do that course. It wasn't a broke person who asked me how to get the money. It was one of my rich friends. Because remember, I serve the wealthy. I serve my rich friends, right? I build courses for my rich friends that just happen to help everybody else. So when you're looking at the future for yourself, and you're looking at putting in deals with the big boys, because you're not like syndication, you're not playing with little guys. You're playing with people who know the numbers, who have their investors ready, who have assets under agreement already, who have assets, they're going and calling that lender and saying, yeah, I just closed on 3,000 units. Like, I'm solid, I'm strong. How do you go up against that? Key principle, man. Just get a key principle and go in and slam your offer in the second you get a deal within an hour. If your offers aren't going out within an hour in this space, you're not getting your deals accepted. You can't wait till tomorrow, right? A deal gets in front of you, you evaluate, slam the offer in.
So
Get a key principle and go into the deal with them.
Right. So just basically have that guy in my back pocket, and right when I find that property, just send that offer in.
Yeah, man. If you need a key principle, I can do deals between 5 to 10 million. So shoot me a text, 774-526-4796. If it's more than 10, I don't feel like doing it, right? I'm outside of my ballpark. But if it's between 5 and 10 million, just shoot me a text and we can take a look at it with him.
Is your number in the chat?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll drop it in for you again.
All right. Thank you.
It's cool like that.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Let's give Mike a round of applause. And just so you know, I do require people to be in the mentorship before I stick my neck out on a deal. So small investment, but I got to make sure one of the requirements of the mentorship is being ethical, moral, and doing things legally. The reason you go through the mentorship, it's a year-long program, but the first 8 weeks, I'll know if I want to work with you or not. Does that make sense? It's really just a qualification, just making sure that you do things right, that you're honest, and that you're forthcoming, right? If you're not telling me stuff about yourself, I can't work with you, right? It's got to be real. Like Mike actually just was very honest. He was very real with us, which makes it easy to work with him. Does that make sense? We get how that works? It's like trying to build a puzzle without all the pieces. Maria, I saw your hand up. I'm sorry, Maria. Sharon had her hand up first. No, I remember. I see you, girl.
Hey, how are you?
Good to see you, Sharon. How are you?
Good seeing you. I have a couple questions that are embedded. One, should I refinance? I have a single family resident, great tenants. Should I refinance and get like let's say 3% interest rate versus the 4 almost 5 that I'm paying now? Because I went over the numbers that is one way of putting more cash in my pocket, and they're looking to stay long term. or should I sell it? Because my ultimate goal is to go into family units. I need to be able to do that. And the other part of it is I do have some funds. Should I consider doing bridge loans for folks who need it at the closing and make additional money with that, or take my own money, which doesn't sound so good for me, and put it in as additional capital that I need for a multi-unit?
Oh, excellent. I love that. So I'll start with one, and then if I forget the question, just remind me, and I'll do two right after that. So the first one is, yes, do the refinance now. 2 points totally justifies it. Even if you sold the house next month, 2 points justifies it. And the truth is that you probably won't sell the house. Based on what we just heard, it makes a lot more sense to hold that until you find something, because the real estate market is a little tough. You're gonna have to do some research to find the right property. And because I know you personally, I know you haven't bought anything in the last 6 months. I know that the next 6 months might look like the last 6 months. So then I would say refinance. Worst case scenario, sell the house. The refinance will only cost you maybe $2,000 to $6,000. So it'll be worth that money to have the ability to just slide into something else. Or if the 6 months goes by and then you've actually made money, because now you're in a lower interest rate, you're saving 2 points.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Oh, it is. It's quite a bit. I'm like, okay, I could do that. And that's income.
Yep.
Because I probably have, within the next 3 years, I'll be really ready to retire. I'm not going to be working like I'm working now. So I want to have income property, because that's going to be extra money that, because Social Security isn't paying me much. At least I couldn't live on that.
I knew that at 28 years old.
And then what do you think about getting into a multi, either with OPM or using some of the money that I have, which could be a bridge loan?
Good question. I really like that question. I'll tell you what I'm personally doing. And just to follow up on question one, I would say that you're going to want to hunt for a property, find and identify that multifamily. And then when you go to buy it, just put in the contract subject to the sale of single family home. You can ask for a 45-day close or a 60-day close and just put it subject to the sale of the property. Ask for an extension if you have to. Who cares?
Okay.
Go and find that property, 1031 exchange, do something so you're not paying any taxes, but identify the property first and then sell the property. That's a better way to go. And second question.
It's about the money.
Ask me that again. I forgot the question.
First one was in my mind. I have some money. I'm actually doing.
Oh yeah, no, okay, I got it. Do not take your own cash. At this point, you're a sophisticated investor. Do not take your cash and put it in real estate. That's silly, right? You know better than that. You can go and bring a partner in on a deal, pay them 6 to 8% interest, raise the capital, or bring a partner, go with a 50-50 partner. If they bring all the money and you're managing the deal, awesome. Or go with a 30% partner for bringing the money. I think that at this point, you're very sophisticated. You know what you're doing in real estate. You don't need to bring your own cash to the deals. Put your money. Now, the next question is, what do I do with my money? Put your money into either Tesla or Bitcoin. And I'm going to phrase this. This is not financial advice, but here's what I'll tell you. I wrote an article on the blog, which you can go to my website, go to the blog, and look at my article that talks about the future. I did the math. If Bitcoin, by the way, Bitcoin's going to $250,000. If you don't know that, if you don't understand that, there is nothing I can do for you other than tell you to go watch some of my videos, learn, get yourself educated. You can't stop the machine, right? I have been financially free for the last 5 years. I have a lot of free time in my hands. I read over 350 books. I go to all the conferences. I know what's coming. I know what's working because I have free time to do this. If you haven't taken the time to understand Bitcoin, start now. You're behind. You're freaking behind. So take your own cash and put that into the asset that's going to double over the next 5 years. Like next year, this coin will be at $100. Guaranteed. Within the next 12 to 16 months, Bitcoin will be at $100. If you bought today, that's a double. That's 100% return on investment. or 90% return on investment. It's like 57,000 right now. So I would do that. Even, Duncan agrees with me. Like we're in crypto. Like that's where we're putting our cash goes into an asset that goes up in value, and we spend and we borrow the asset that goes down in value. That's why we take out debt on real estate. That's why we borrow from people who don't trust crypto and stocks. Like you guys are rare to have this conversation with somebody who knows what they're talking about. Most people are getting crypto and stock advice from 18-year-old kids they don't trust. And so they're thinking, nope, real estate works. I'm going to put my money in a real estate. Be the person who takes their money and puts it into real estate. You're still servicing people, right? You're still doing something that they want. So Sherrod, raise cap. That's why I teach raising capital. I believe it's a good thing to do. I believe it's an ethical thing to do. I love helping my investors who are afraid of the stock market, who are afraid of Bitcoin. I love helping them further my goals and their goals in real estate. But my money doesn't go in real estate. Hell no. Hell no. My money goes into Bitcoin and Tesla. And Tesla's like an ETF right now. They're electric, they're robotic, they're AI, they're, artificial intelligence. They own Bitcoin, right? They own a ton of Bitcoin. So it's like a freaking ETF. So that's my not financial advice. But Sharon, if I were to tell you what I'm doing, that's what I would do with my own cash.
Thank you.
Is that valuable? We're getting some good stuff tonight. Awesome. Excellent. Let's give Sharon a round of applause. Great question. What else we got? What other questions are there?
I got a question.
Brian, you're up.
Thanks so much. I'm at the stage, my wife and I, we've kind of thought about this a lot. We own a duplex in Boston. We're house hacking right now. It's going very, very well. We've talked about real estate for a long time. We kind of have a goal within 10 years to be able to make the choice to walk away from our jobs. We both don't dislike our jobs, but we want to have that freedom to basically do whatever we'd like. I've read no less than 20 real estate books. I've listened to no less than 4,000 podcasts, I feel like. And it was like 2 months ago, I was listening to a Kobe Bryant special. And, he made the comment, you got to talk about it or you're going to be about it. And I was like, there's no more talking about it. You got to take action. You have to make the move. And I listen to podcasts where I hear people that, not to toot my own horn, I feel like have done less research than I have, but they're in the game and I'm not in the game the way I want to be in the game. So a lot of the conversation we've had tonight is about knowing that we need to look at private funds, hard money funds in order to really scale our business. My question is, do you seek to engage with private money and hard money lenders to create a network before you find the deal? Or do you find the deal and then seek to kind of shop, for lack of a better term, shop that deal with potential partners that you can work with? What's your advice in that situation?
Brian, I love this question. Let's give Brian a round of applause and congratulations on your house hack, the duplex. That's awesome. It's super fresh in my head because I just finished in the Names on Deeds training. I literally just finished the module. It's like page 44. And we talked about why it makes sense to be raising capital before you need it, building relationships before you need those relationships. Because my experience has been that somebody will come up to me and say, yeah, I got 100,000. I want to invest with you. And I'm like, cool, awesome, sweet. I got 100. I'm thinking in my head, I got 100,000 to go invest. I go and I lock down a deal. I call them up and I'm like, dude, I got the deal. Maybe we just talked 2 weeks ago. And they're like, oh, well, you know what? My funds are tied up right now. I won't be free. The funds won't be free for another 6 months. I'd really like to do the deal. Or the other story is, yeah, not the deal I'm really interested in. Oh, shit. I don't have 100,000 suddenly. So it's one, super deep relationships, like be building relationships way before you need them and get super deep knowledge on this person. Like if you're uncomfortable talking about what you have in the stock market, if you're uncomfortable talking about what you have in crypto or in cash in the bank, dude, you're not ready to raise capital, right? You got to be willing to talk about your own stuff before they talk about their stuff. And if you want to be able to raise capital, you need to know what they've got. You got to know their financial goals. You got to know their, like, one of my questions, I put this in the module. One of my questions is, what rate of return are you getting right now? Right? Like if they're getting 5 and you say 6, we're going to jump.
Right.
But if they're getting 16 and you say 12, they're gonna be like, yeah, not interested, right? They may be an equity partner. Maybe that's a different angle to go with. But you got to be able to ask these questions. You got to be asking these questions now, right? Like the other like lesson is family and friends have money that you don't know about, right? You know, my dad was my first lender. I didn't know. Actually, my attorney was my first lender. My dad was my second lender. But, you know, I didn't know, you know, like until I said, hey, I'm doing these deals. And my dad said, hey, how do I get in? That's my favorite question. How do I get into the deal? By the way, this is how you line it up, guys and gals. Have a deal, a theoretical deal, which you can get in Get the Money. I have a theoretical deal, how to set it up in Bigger Pockets. So you go in and you create a prospective deal and then present that to people. Hey, if a deal came like this, would you be interested? This is what the ROI would be. And you can create a little investor package like I have on the website. And then present that to people. Be like, hey, this is the deal I'm doing. Like, don't ask them for private money. Just be like, hey, these are the deals I'm doing. This is the ROI. It's really freaking cool, right? Like, be so excited about your potential deal, the deals you're hunting for, that people want to ask you, how do they get in? They will ask you, I promise. Right? Remember I was talking about, Brian, I was talking about the 6 girls I was dating at once. I didn't ask for their numbers. They asked for my number.
Ooh.
Right? See, Kelly, because you got to go out there and be so interesting, so interactive, so engaging that they don't want that deal or opportunity to walk away from them. They're thinking in their head, man, like I've got to get into this real estate deal because Brian just mentioned it. Like, who knows? Like he's just talking about it with everybody, just willy-nilly like this. Like the next guy might be the guy who gets in the deal. If I don't say something now and ask, how do I get in? I'm going to miss this opportunity. And
it makes perfect sense. And I guess a follow-up and last question I'll have is debt partnership versus equity partnership. When do you elect to go with one route versus another?
I always go debt partnerships until I run out of money. Then I go equity partnerships.
Yeah.
But as long as
don't give up a piece of the pie long-term unless you got it.
Yeah. If I can swing it, if I can carry the cost of the debt and the deal, if I can carry the cost of the debt and the deal, I'll go debt. But if I can't carry the debt, if my portfolio is not big enough, the cash flow's not big enough. I mean, I had one deal where we lost $100,000 a year because we took on a debt partnership instead of an equity partnership. That deal made us 1.5 million. So it was worth losing $100,000 to keep it to ourselves. But the portfolio could support that. We were able to actually just raise the capital to cover it. So that's a phenomenal question. I wish more people asked me, right?
Cool.
Most people just jump right to equity. It's like, why are we doing equity? Like, if the deal can support debt, do debt. That is the better alternative. Raise debt. And the other thing I've heard is debt is harder to raise capital on. This is a buddy of mine who does syndications, and he used to work for a $500 million real estate company. He was the acquisitions manager. And he said, you know, debt is a lot harder to raise. And I told him, I was like, bro, only when you're raising millions. When you raise millions, yeah, they all want equity. But when you're raising 50,000, 100,000, debt is the easiest thing to raise.
I was going to say, because like from a risk profile perspective, a lot of people you talk with, they love debt financing because it's essentially contractually obligated.
Yeah.
Versus you become an equity partner, you're taking on the risk of what the projection of that deal may become, which is, you know, high risk, high reward. But as a debt partner, you're getting your 6% every quarter, every whatever time period based on the contractual obligation. So cool. Thanks very much.
100%. Absolutely. Great question. Let's give Brian a round of applause. And this is a fun topic for me. I taught a class last year called Be the Bank, right? Because obviously, by the way, who wants to raise capital? Hands the camera if you want to raise capital. Teach how to be a private money investor, right? That's why I taught Be the Bank, so I could attract private money investors into our community. A lot of my students were saying they needed capital, so I went and I created a course for them where I bring capital investors in. And I'll actually probably have that completed where it'll be available again. It's available on YouTube. If you do want to go watch that course and learn how to teach a private money course, you can go on YouTube, just look at my channel. But I'll edit it. I'll make it really nice, like all the other courses in Alchemist University, sometime next year, right? Dorina, hold me accountable to that. I'm not committing to spring. It'll be maybe summer. But I'll have a virtual assistant go and put that together. But the idea is that private money, man, like people were chomping at the bit for 8% interest. Man, just like, oh, excited to get a guaranteed monthly paycheck, right? You think about it, you put $100,000 up, you're getting $8,000 back. Like in their heads, they're thinking this is free money. I'm sitting on 100,000 doing nothing. I could be sitting on $8,000 coming to me over a year. And that's their mindset. And then I've got other guys who are like, if it's not 16 or more, I'm not interested. So you just have to spread a wide enough net when raising capital. What other questions? Has this been valuable? Hands scaring has been valuable. Good stuff. Telling you, ask questions, you get good answers.
Walter,
Yes, Kelly.
2 things. Hannah invests in Bitcoin. She started when she was, sweetie, how old were you? 19?
Oh,
She's there. So she's been doing it for about 5 years now. And then the
Yep.
other thing is actually a question, and that is testimonials. Are you still honoring testimonials if people sign up in your
yes.
course? Okay.
Yes, absolutely. Kelly, thank you for saying that. And by the way, I forgot to mention this. The mentorship right now is $1,200. January 1st, it's going to 2,000. And I'm going to say, I apologize and I'm sorry about that. I'll stick it to you a little further. On Friday, Black Friday, it was $900 just for 3 days, for Black Friday to Cyber Monday. And I told everybody, I told my whole community, I told everybody on Facebook and YouTube as well, it will never be that price again. And the reason is I find that the more I charge, the better quality the student that I bring through. The more they pay attention, the more they pay attention. We've heard this before.
Yes. It's called perception of value.
Perception of value. And so as I increase the price, I get more high quality people into the mentorship. And I've been told numerous times that my program is too affordable from my students, from the people who've gone through it. So I had to increase the price in order to attract more people. So this is a benefit that I do for the Boston REIA. And thanks for Kelly for reminding me. Anybody who signs up and states that they signed up for the Boston REIA, you're going to get something free from me and from Dorina. You're going to get one of my books. You choose which book it is. If you send a testimonial after being with me for 8 weeks, you do not get the book for free. Or if you already bought the book, then I'll give you something else for free. I promise. I'll send you a t-shirt, maybe a Names on Deeds shirt. But if you send me a testimonial after I have proven myself, do not send me a testimonial after 24 hours. Does that make sense? I have to prove myself that I've done something, but you send me a testimonial, I'll hook you up with something for free. And when you sign up for the mentorship at the Boston REIA right now, Dorina, can I run the $1,000 program? Yeah. I see your face.
No, I'm good.
All right, so we'll save you $200. You sign up for the Boston REIA through the Boston REIA tonight. So if you sign up through the Boston REIA as a member, then we'll give whoever is a member to the Boston REIA, we'll give them a $200 discount for signing up for the mentorship. It's a year-long mentorship. You get me, 8 other millionaires. We talk to you 2 times a week for 8 weeks, and then once a week for the rest of the year. And I go through the 52 wealth principles, how to buy real estate with no money down, how to negotiate deals, how to market yourself, how to find tenants. We do this across the entire year, one principle at a time. If you're ambitious, you want to jump ahead. In fact, I got a funny story. One of my students texted me. He asked me to have a conversation. We jumped on a call, and he told me, he's like, I watched the 52 Weeks to Wealth with you on Saturday live Zoom. And then I go on to Alchemist University and I watched last year's 52 Weeks, that principle again. And he said, I get more from listening to the perception you had each year, because I double my net worth and I double my income each year as well. The same challenge I give all my students. So he said that the perception was different the year before. And sometimes I find it easier to relate to where you were a year ago. Does that make sense? We can grasp how that may be. So if you're ambitious, you want to jump ahead, I have recorded all of last year's 52 Wealth Principles as well on Alchemist University. So it's cool. Yeah, I love helping people. I love seeing your success. It means a lot to me. And let's give Kelly a round of applause for all the dedication they do with Boston REIA, all the trainings.
Thank you.
And Hannah for her Bitcoins. Hell yeah, Hannah, I'm glad you invested. So a 10,000% return.
Well, I started investing in 2017, I want to say, which is that first big
So you went through winter.
market. Yeah, and I've been hooked ever since then. It's definitely a huge investment opportunity. And now with NFTs as well, that's like the new thing. So, yep, get into it, guys. There's
Hannah,
so
I've
many
got
ways
to
to make money.
I've got to get you on Hive. I've got to get you blogging. It's a crypto blogging website. I blog on there. They pay me like $20 to $100 a day for my posts. Just in crypto.
Wow.
It's amazing. Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, put a link if you have it in the chat.
Hive, just hive.io
Oh,
or
wow.
hive.com. Yeah.
Look that up. Nice.
Absolutely. Actually, I'll drop
So she can finish paying for school. It's her last year.
hive.blog. Hive.blog is how you get there. Who knew this would turn into a crypto course? In fact, I'll drop my blog so you can actually follow me on there. When you vote, if you have any status, if you stake any coins, your vote actually pays me and it pays you.
Awesome. I will
My
check that out.
suggestion, if anybody gets on Hive or Leo Finance, follow me and then send me a message. Let me know you're following me. I stake about $30,000 out there. So my vote means a lot. When I vote on your post, you actually get paid. So let me know if you're on any of these websites.
She can
Oh,
finish
value
paying
add.
for college.
It's true, right? Yeah, my vote's only worth like $7, but still, when everybody else's vote's worth 25 cents, it's nice to get a $7 vote out there.
Yes.
Awesome. What else? What other questions we got? Oh, Duncan's hilarious. I want to test your wallet. Send Doge.
Navi has his hand up, but I'm not sure. Navi, do you have a question?
I asked it before, sorry.
Oh, gotcha.
Excellent. And don't get distracted by the crypto conversation. Crypto is a good investment. Yes, it's a class you need to be in, something you need to understand. But at the same time, if you're not sitting on $100,000, crypto will not change your life. Like Bitcoin, yes, will it go up 5 times? Maybe over the next 5 to 10 years. I believe that. But at the same time, you put $1,000 out there, it's only going to be $5,000. We're catching this?
Catching.
At this point, or you go high risk. Like I am in some high risk tokens. You know, I throw 5,000 at something sometimes because I don't care, right? It's a gamble. I like the community or I like the utility or something. But like Hive, you know, obviously I threw a lot of money. I didn't throw a lot. I threw a good $15,000 behind one of their other projects. I got about 45 grand sitting on a DeFi platform I did with them that I learned through them. So it was cool. But Hive, I only put 5 grand into, and it turned into $30,000. You know, I had 5 grand to throw at it, right? I'm a multimillionaire. That's my gambling money. That's what I go to Vegas with. We're getting this. I'm not saying throw 5 grand at these potential flop coins, the altcoins. I'm saying, you know, my 5 grand looks closer to somebody's $50, right? And I'm not saying that to be arrogant. I'm just saying, like, realistically, when I look at my numbers, what I threw out there is probably close to somebody's $50. Does that make sense? So be very, very cautious with how you're investing in these things. Real estate is how you get that money, right? Real estate is how you get that 100,000 to go and invest, right? You do a BRRRR, buy a property, refinance the property, get your money back, get your investors' money paid out. And if you get an extra 50 grand from that property, from the equity you've built up, roll that into crypto. As long as the cash flow justifies the loan. That makes a lot of sense. We're catching this? Leverage is how you get financial freedom. If you try to go the path that everybody else is going, you're going to stay working like everybody else. Right? The average person, the average advice, the Dave Ramsey advice, that's for the 95% of the people on the planet. Rich people don't pay taxes because we don't have to, because we keep our assets in play. We keep our money invested in assets. We're not taking the money, right? You ask a crypto investor why they're paying taxes or not, they're like, I don't sell, I just hold. Buy and hold, real estate, buy and hold. I take loans against my crypto. I take loans against my stock accounts. I take loans against my real estate, but I don't pay taxes. There's no reason to, other than the little bit of tax that my accountant says I have to pay in order to get a loan. My lender says I have to pay to get a loan. This making sense? It's not tax evasion. It's just tax literacy. So be very careful with what you learn first. The first thing to learn is real estate, then crypto, then stocks. If you learn it in that order, you're going to do well. Don't allow us to distract you with where we're at today. Don't do what I do today. Do what I did to get started. Does that make sense? People ask me, hey, can I follow you around? It's not going to do you any good. I assure you, all I do is record video all day. That's not what got me rich. It's talking to investors. It's talking to wholesalers. It's talking to property owners, sellers, negotiating deals, talking to agents. That's what paid me. That's what got me to where I'm at today. And that's what you want to learn right now. Get the deals, cash flow, put management in place, raise capital, stick to the stuff that makes money. Valuable? I'm telling you, don't follow a multimillionaire around to see what they do in the day. Right? I can make $1 million in an hour conversation because I have a big network. I have the relationships. I know who to talk to. For you, you're going to have to go get those. You have to build those assets. And it's worth it. I'm telling you, it's worth it. My best friends are millionaires. I have blast. You know where we go hang out? Let's go hang out on the yacht. Let's go. Like, we're supposed to go to Roatan. I just found out my passport is expired. I'm getting cut out of a trip to Roatan that's paid for by my attorney, by one of my investors, one of my partners. And I'm not going to go because I messed up on my passport. We're seeing how cool this is. Like, it's a cool life. And Doreena's going to make a call tomorrow and see if I can get my passport updated. I didn't think I was leaving the country, Kelly. It was my excuse not to go to Russia with her. No, I messed up on that one. Other questions? I know it's pretty late, but I want to make sure we're serving you guys. I want to make sure we're delivering. Any questions that come up, or just feel free to. I see Brian, your hands up. Go ahead.
I got one more. Thank you. Establishing an LLC. Early on in your investing career, it maybe makes sense to buy things personally. Once you start getting into private funding, different things like that, my assumption is that at that point, it makes a lot of sense to form an LLC. It has implications to the type of loans you can get and different things like that. Just wondering your thoughts in that space.
I wish I was asked this more often, Brian. Most people go and create their LLC without having a property. You don't need an LLC probably until you're 3 properties deep or until you go hard money. Either hard money or commercial will require an LLC. But if you're your cheaper financing, you're going to be in your own name. If you're going commercial, if you're going residential, if you're going traditional financing, you're going to be buying these things in your own name. And the LLC is just so you can get financing. It's really the whole reason. We buy in trusts, and we have our trusts held by LLCs. We actually learned that here at the Boston REIA. One of the speakers came out, and the trust guy, the land deed guy. Not land deed. What's his name, Kelly? Who does the trusts?
You would put me on the spot.
All right. Well,
Randy Hughes.
Yes.
Mr. Land Trust.
Sharon knew it. Okay. Sarah knew it. Awesome. So yeah, we purchase and trust, and then we own those trusts with LLCs. But when I started, I owned my first, I want to say 3 or 4 houses in my own personal name. And there was no reason to switch. I'm covered on the homestead on my personal residence. And then I'm covered by my umbrella policy on my insurance company for everything else that happened. By the way, always have an umbrella policy. If you don't, that's foolish. And when it comes to insurance, always insure to ARV, not purchase price. Insure to ARV. Never happened to me, but it's happened to somebody else. And they really wish that they, trained hundreds of students. And I had a student who messed that up. So if I ever talk about insurance, I always talk ARV, after repair value, insure all the way up. And if you're doing a renovation, get renovation insurance. Don't play that game of trying to get the cheap insurance if you're renovating. They don't cover stuff. Very cautious with this. Insurance is a thing you never want to use, but if you do have to use it, good day. If you did it right.
Cool. Thank you.
Awesome. Let's give Brian a round of applause, man. Yeah, do it in your own name, and then eventually shift over to the LLC. When you do the refinances, when you're looking to, say you do a couple of owner occupieds, do them in your name, and then refinance them over to the LLC. Do a couple more owner occupieds. But for now, you really don't need it. The 1 or 2 houses, unless. And the other thing is, I keep entities for about $1 million, right? So we have $10 million worth of real estate. We have 10 entities out there. And that's just to kind of keep it, within its own kind of shell. Good stuff. Valuable.
Valuable.
Man, this is just the tip. This is just the free stuff. You should see what the mentorship's like. It's intense. We take action. We're about getting things done in the mentorship. I'm telling you, people put offers in within 2-3 weeks. We guarantee you 60 days. Guaranteed. We built millionaires, man. We built millionaires. That's all I'm doing. I got a goal. 2020, 100 millionaires. 100 millionaires. You serious? You real about it? We'll see. Gotta show up, man. Successful people show up. That's what happens. And unsuccessful people will watch something like this, hang out with people like us, and do nothing about it. Craziest thing. We can all be sitting in the same room, but totally get a different message. Some people look at it and say it's a call to action. Other people look at that and they're like, can't be real. Must be a scam. Telling you. I've been on both sides of the coin. I've been in the same room, different seats. And it turns out that usually, if it's a trustworthy person, I've paid people who were not they didn't deliver as much as they said they would. Absolutely. Those exist. Can't deny that. But what I learned is that even those, I learned something from them. Even the ones that I paid that I didn't get the return that they promised, I learned something. You know why? I'm a learner. Successful people learn. I'm a grinder, right? You put me in a room where there's no education, I'll learn from the janitor. I don't care. I'll build a business from mopping the floor because I'm a builder. Does that make sense? Nobody can hold a motivated person down. Right? I wasn't the smartest person growing up. In fact, I was homeschooled and my mom used to tell me that I was slow, lazy, and didn't know what I was doing. I know it's messed up. I love my mom though, but for years I didn't. So I grew up being told that I wasn't smart or able to do things like other people. And so what that does to a person is it makes me think, well, I might not be as smart as them, but I can study harder than them. I can study longer than them. I can outlearn them. I can practice. I can out-practice them. So when my brother would go to bed at 10, I'd stay up till 2 because I knew I had to, right? Because I believed that I wasn't as smart as other people, but I'm competitive. I don't like to lose. So I had to push a little harder. Does that make sense? You're willing to push a little harder than normal people. So when the standard was, earn 55,000 like everybody else in the country, I said, well, how do I get to 100? And then once I made 100, I said, how do I get to $250,000? Once I got to $250,000, I looked, I said, well, the top 1% earn $500,000. How do I get to $500,000? And when I got there, I looked at, well, the fraction of the 1% make $1 million. How do I get to the $1 million? And when I got there, I said, well, there's really not much to compete with other than the billionaires. There's only 2,600 of them. So then I set the goal to make $1 billion. That set me out a little bit further. I got 9 more years left. And you know what the secret to doing it is? Build 100 millionaires. Build 100 millionaires who are inspired to build 100 millionaires. And when you start that company, you got the people you can raise capital from. Does that make sense? They owe you one. And you made them rich. So it's not just a thing I'm doing. It's a suggestion for you to go out there and do it. You want to raise capital, help other people get rich. Real estate agents, you want to eventually own a bunch of real estate, build a bunch of millionaires. Right? In this room, Sarah, you got a bunch of people who want to be millionaires. Right? They wouldn't have stuck around to the last, almost 10 o'clock. We're at 9:30 if they didn't think that this was something they wanted to do. So I'm telling you, pay it forward. Look, I worked for the money. I worked for the girls. But at the end of the day, there's nothing cooler than helping other people. It really is fun to see somebody be successful. I get texted every single day, 5, 10 texts. Thank you, you changed my life. I got 7,000 followers on Facebook. Darina's watched me. It takes me 3 to 4 hours to go through every message. But every day I go through every message. And some of them are tough questions. Some people are going through some shit. you know, but I can relate to it. I've not lived the easiest life, and you don't have to live the easiest life to be successful. And so for me, like if somebody messages me, I don't want to be the guy who didn't respond to that person who really needed it. You know what I'm talking about? I was in that moment, really, really needed that answer. Like if the deal didn't close, they owed a lot of money, people money, or the deal was going to cost somebody the comfort or life or something, you know, it's very important to answer. So who could you be? Say you figure this game out, right? Like the commitment I made 7 years ago. Say you figure out how to become a millionaire. How does your family look after this? Generational wealth is not just handing people money. It's handing them the knowledge of how to get it. It's passing along the principles of how money works, of how people work, how communication works, relationship advice, right? I'm telling you, I'm a better relationship person as a millionaire than I was as a broke person, right? Because how you do anything is how you do everything. As a millionaire, I don't worry about things, right? So in the relationship, I'm not jealous. I don't get greedy. I'm like, oh, whatever you want, babe, go ahead. But I won't compromise this, this, and this, right? When you're not a millionaire, it's fighting over money. It's number one reason people fight is over money. Number one reason for divorce is people are not faithful to each other. And the reason people aren't faithful to each other is because they're fighting over money. They're fighting over stuff. So don't allow that to be in your life. Don't allow it to be in your kids' lives. Figure out money. It's easy. You just got to do it. Right? It's simple. It's not easy. Money is simple. It's not easy. The first million is easy. The first million is a bitch. The next million is inevitable. Guarantee the next million, right? Once you've done it, then it's just a matter of doing it, right? But the first million, whew, man, it's like lifting an elephant. You guys ready to go to bed? All set for the night? All right.
Got one more if you'll take it.
Oh, go ahead, Brian. Yeah.
sorry to hog the mic. But back on the topic of debt financing or debt, raising debt. So the scenario may be you raise debt in order to fund a down payment or fund a rehab or whatever it may be, and you may be taking out a traditional mortgage on that 30 years. Do you find that maybe a traditional structure of that debt financing is some form of I'll use the term balloon payment back to that debt owner, 3 years down the road, 5 years down the road, or something like that, right? You're going to pay them a certain 6, 8, 10%, whatever it may be. But at some point you're going to basically just pay that off, either through a refi of the property or something else. Is that usually what you advise or what you see?
Walter, I have to ask because I've been trying to figure this out. What is raising debt or debt? Okay, this whole time I've been trying to figure it out. So to answer that, I'm still lost with raising the debt.
Awesome. We'll put both of them together. It's funny because, like I said, I just finished this chapter in Names on Deeds, and I was very clear about what debt is, what equity is, why they're different, why you should use them, how you should use them. And getting the questions is just confirmation. So thank you guys. I love that. It means I'm on the right track. I've clearly been listening. Remember my lesson was listen. Listen to people. Debt is paying interest. So let's say I raised 100,000 from a new investor. I'm paying them 8% interest. That is a debt only. They're only getting paid interest. They have no access to the equity when I sell the property. They have no access to the rents. They're just a debt partner. So all it is a mortgage, a second mortgage, a promissory note, and that's it. Now, equity could be a percentage of the deal. They're going to have equity to the asset itself. They're going to have equity to the profits. So equity is ownership, actual ownership of the property, whereas debt is a mortgage. Debt is a loan. That explain that?
It was just the terminology. I now know what it is that you guys were talking about. I just never heard of it as raising debt. So thank you.
Absolutely. My brother asked me what equity was the other day. I looked down, I was like, are you kidding me? But I realized we don't talk about these things all the time.
We're not taught. we go to school and they never talk about money and what it is and how to be independent. I actually bought a program for my grandchildren so they can talk about what is real estate, stocks, money, capital, all of this stuff I got for my grandbabies.
I love it. Let's give Sharon a round of applause. Yeah, it's a part of me and my brother both combined. My brother teaches kids. And, you know, for me, like anytime one of my students has children, I tell them, bring your kids. You know, I had kids at the 100 Millionaire Summit in Orlando. I'm very entertaining on stage. I can make real estate easy to understand and enjoyable. And it's really important, guys. Your family, like it's not enough for you to get rich. You got to be able to pass it down. And if they're not a millionaire, and I'm pointing to my head right now, if they're not a millionaire, they'll lose $1 million, right? Gone like that. You've got to teach them the financial instruments, how it works, how to keep it, how to grow it. So awesome job, Sharon. And Brian, I forgot your question. It's my nature. If you present it again, I will definitely get it.
So my question was, when you raise debt and you have a certain, certain interest you're paying back that investor, do you typically see a balloon payment or some sort of payoff back to that debt 3 or 5 years out or something like that? Or what type of carrying period would you see, or how do you see that structured?
Yep, good question. And that depends on the asset I'm taking down. It depends on the lender itself. Sometimes I'm in a pinch. I'll take a lender on who's wants a 6-month term. I'll just rotate them out with another lender. But typically I ask for 2 years, 3 years, especially if it's a BRRRR, if it's a buy and hold and I'm going to do a refinance. Really hard to refinance those things and get any cash out until you've aged the deed for 2 years. You can do a refinance within 6 months or 3 months from closing on the property. But to get the cash out, you're going to have to typically age that at least 2 years. So a 3-year term is pretty standard. A 2-year term is pretty standard. We ask for extensions. I write the contract, so I don't make the extensions very painful. I just put that it is an option. And this is the piece. I wrote a whole chapter on how important keeping a relationship with your investor is. Keep the relationship going. You need them to know what's going on. The worst thing that can happen is that, and I learned this from Nick Alvarud, right? If you're having an issue in the deal on a property, tell your investors immediately. Do not hide the issue. Let them know the situation. Hey, we're going to have to hold your capital a little bit longer. We may have to stop payments for a little while. Negotiate upfront immediately. If something's happening, keep communication open. The scariest thing for a lender is no conversations. Okay, I tell you guys, right? I don't answer the phone for anybody except for my friggin' lenders. They call me. If they call me, they're scared about something, right? So like I answer the phone for my lenders, but I won't answer the phone for my mother. My cousin just called me and I'm like, yeah, I'm on the phone with I'm on the REIA right now. I'll talk to you later. But if a lender called me, you guys see me pick that phone up real quick. Good question, Brian. Let's give Brian a round of applause. I think Brian asked most questions tonight. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Great participation. Love it.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So guys, if you haven't already heard it from me, my phone number is 774-526-4796. Shoot me a text, ask me questions. If you want to get into the mentorship, you can go to gualteramarillo.com. If you want any of the free stuff I offer, go to gualteramarillo.com. Check out the blog, check out the podcast. Check out the interview I did with Rod Cleef. If you want to hear about mindset, you want to talk about a multimillionaire. I hung out with him a couple of weeks ago down at his house in Sarasota and just blew my mind. Love talking to that guy. He's episode 100. I gave him a special spot. So definitely worth listening to. Definitely a really good interview. We barely talked real estate. We just talked mindset. You get a multimillionaire like that in front of you. You're like, dude, I know the deals. I know how to do deals. I want to know, how does this thing work? How do you hold on to it? How do you keep it growing? How do you manage? He's also an influencer. So how do you manage all the messages coming through? How do you do it in a right way that's ethical, moral, and keep it legal, right? So good stuff out there. I'm blessed to have the opportunity to share tonight with you, to share some knowledge. This is part of my bigger mission to build 100 millionaires so that you can go forth and build your 100 millionaires. And I want to say a big thank you to the Boston REIA for all of the commitment, all the education, all the speakers they bring out. My podcast wouldn't be as interesting if it wasn't for all the great speakers we see here that I then go and invite over to the podcast. So let's give Kelly Weirman, Duncan Weirman, and Hannah a round of applause. Let's give Sarah Ibram a round of applause for running things on the Home Depot side. And my beautiful Russian princess, Darina, I wouldn't know where I'm going if it wasn't for you. So let's give Darina a round of applause as well. She's amazing. And I see Sharon Mendes on the call. Let's give Sharon a round of applause. 2 years ago, when we were live, she helped us out so much. In fact, she'd been running it for years before I showed up. So
Yes,
thank you
she's
to
our
everybody on here.
our remaining charter member, Sharon Mendes.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are awesome. Your success is in your own hands. Millionaire status is not as hard as people make it sound. It's just cooler than people make it sound. Way cooler. So cheers to your success. We have a choice. Always work with the best. We'll see you guys next month.
Bye-bye. Night,
Cheers.
Great
everyone.
meeting. Yeah.
Good night.
Hashtag
Good night,
Pro Tools.
all.